Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Trincody Gaming's second League of Legends Clash Cup. We are in the semifinals right now. Demonon and Zip will be bringing the commentary for you this evening. One of these two teams, your team and Death Cards, will be moving on to the finals. That will be broadcast tomorrow as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But it should be a really fun best of three Zip, and we are going to have some prizes later on in the stream as well for everyone who, or for people who participate in the chat, and you have a higher chance of that.
Yeah, here we've got some $25 RP gift cards going out to the people in chat today. Make sure to participate in that with the channel points, or I guess the Trank Bucks.
There you go. Hey, whatever gets it done. Just everybody could use some extra RP. There's more. Seems like there's more skins every patch now at this point. So we are going to get ready for the draft here. Your team and Death Guard being in the semifinals. Like we said, this is a best of three. So I believe the draft has. It is underway. I'm unable to see it. There's Zip, but are there any high priority things on this patch that you really think are important to ban?
Well, this patch for sure, we've seen the rise of Kassadin. Well, funnily enough, the rise of Kassadin and Ryze, both with the buffed Rod of Ages and Seraph's Embrace. Getting those shields are massive for those two champions because they both want to dominate the mid to late game and scale up safely, getting to their level 16s respectively, because that just gives them such a huge power spike. In the jungle, Maokai has been a very dominant pick right now. We've seen both full tank and full AP coming forth with the Demonic Embrace Rush, as that item is very strong. Top lane's been a bit of a mashup. We've seen a lot of fighters like Camille. Oh, we've got a draft.
There we go. We got the visuals for it. But yeah, give me one tip.
The reworked Drax that we see has been banned. Aatrox has been strong even after his nerfs, and we see they're going for a Shen. So there's probably going to be a lot less prio directed towards the top lane, a lot more focus on the bottom lane for both teams, actually, seeing that they're drafting both Zac and Udyr. I'm assuming
there's the Zac you were talking about that is so prominent right now in the game compared to Udyr, Nivea, and then Shen. Shen's one of my favorite champions personally. I think where you can see top lane just a bit with him, even though he's somewhat of a solid laner, depending on the matchup, it makes the mid or the dragon potential for your team that much better, because you're able to essentially TP there while pre-14 minutes the Aatrox is not able to.
Correct. We see the Anivia coming out. I believe that is, if I don't want to be wrong here, I believe that is Death Cards or your team. I might be completely utterly wrong. Gonna see a Nun ban. I assume that's a mistake or just a heavily ego pick. Either way, doesn't matter. So considering that we're seeing both Yasuo and Aurelia banned, I'm assuming that will be a Nico support into... Obviously, that we don't see their bot lane yet. They have an Anivia in the mid lane. So we're going to be seeing a lot of passive play likely in the mid, considering that Anivia isn't necessarily a very strong solo killer. I mean, she can be in the right circumstances into champions with low mobility that can't get over her wall.
And okay. The death cards, if they want, they could draft Ashe here to get a little more Freljord synergy, but instead they
decide, Anivia, yeah.
Instead they decide to Thresh, and actually last picking ADC, which is not a strategy you commonly see there. So Bernie locking in Jhin, his Samira was banned, and I was just quickly looking at their OPGG, and it looked like Bernie was spamming Samira and Jhin their last 20 or so games. So Jhin Karma really strong bot lane together, and then Thresh Caitlyn. What do you think about, as we have time to get set up for the match as we get there, saving Red 5 for ADC? What are your thoughts there?
Well, it looked to me like they really wanted to try to secure priority in that bot lane and set up a kill lane, which is honestly surprising that they didn't go Caitlyn Lux here, because that's such a strong early prio, mid prio pick, especially into Jhin Karma. They're going to have a lot of poke in the bot lane for both sides, so Thresh is going to be trying to look for hard engages while also keeping Caitlyn safe, while Jhin Karma will basically be looking for 1, maybe 2 skill shots to hit that they can just sort of poke around with, and then maybe look for an all-in engage on. Interesting to note that they did pick Jhin into Udyr Shen, which is a little odd to me because Jhin is not very good into tanks. Being forced to build
things that can just get in your face, like Shen and Udyr can both do that.
Both of them can just sort of run at you, and it's very difficult for you to essentially get away as Jhin. He's going to be building Gale Force probably anyway, but Udyr and Shen are not very well known for their, are known very well for their ability to basically shrug off ADCs, even the ones that have high burst damage, and just sort of keep walking at you. So picking Jhin, maybe they want more CC and the ability to rotate. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, I do think in this spot, like I'm thinking between you got my brain thinking about Nico and Karma and how it is technically a potential flex at this point because we haven't seen what they're going to load into that the Nico could be support. And there's been a lot of Karma mid in high ladder and in professional play as well, using that new mythic item where she essentially is spamming her ultimate constantly and really helping out the rest of the team there. So is that a potential? Radiant Virtue. Thank you, Radiant Virtue. So is that a potential mind flex here in game one, making your opponents, even after the pick and ban is over, there still are question marks on where each role is going?
Yeah, that definitely is something they could have done. Picking Karma, going for that tankier build. Honestly, I feel like Karma going full, essentially full AP with Liandry's would be better here, considering there's 2 tanks, and then Thresh will also be tanky and be building a large amount of AP. And I don't really know if they necessarily need more frontline, considering they've already got that strong Zac Aatrox. Aatrox, once he presses R World Ender, he'll be very strong and hard to take down in burst, especially if you look at Shen, Udyr, Anivia, Thresh. They don't really have that much burst. They're essentially relying all on this Caitlyn for the massive amount of damage. Anivia will keep her safe along with Thresh with their large zone control, but I don't know if... I feel like I would favor blue side here for team fighting, honestly. They've got strong Nico-Zac combo, Jhin for long-range follow-up if he wants to, and then Karma can even just speed everyone up to get in there. Karma really covers that weakness that Aatrox has where he can't catch on to people. Once he gets onto them, he doesn't have too much trouble sticking, but it's that initially getting on, especially with Anivia for that AoE slow.
Yeah, I would definitely tend to favor the blue side here with their team fighting composition, especially like one Jhin stun into the Nico ult, and Zac can get over any spot. I think there's a lot of pressure on Caitlyn in this match as, somewhat of the like pseudo soul AD carry here on the team. Shen does HP magic damage, Udyr a lot of magic, Anivia obviously magic as well, and Thresh being more supportive there. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Caitlyn to try to get a lead early, and you typically see Jhin as a soft, safe ADC pick into Caitlyn, typically in pro play. So it's not necessarily like it's a foregone conclusion that Caitlyn can stomp this lane, especially with Karma helping Jhin out as well.
Yes, exactly. Jhin actually farms under tower pretty well with his Q. The bouncing grenade really helps out for getting those low health minions, as well as his fourth auto being very good at executing certain minions like the cannons, larger waves of melees. And I think we're just getting in the game now.
Yep. I hear some of those people getting loaded into the fountain, so we will momentarily be heading over to the game here. Game 1 in this best of 3 between your team and Death Cards. One thing I want to wonder when we find out is what the summoner spells for Shen are, and it is Flash Teleport, which is definitely the safer, quote unquote correct play to make, but I think Flash Ignite helps you significantly more in a lane against Aatrox, but we are looking to have potentially an invade
going to be warded out.
So Anivia is not afraid. Scotty not able to really get anything going. Warding the blue buff there on his way out though, so they can at least see that the red side is going to be potentially starting down there once Peter gets in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I expect early on we're not going to see much action, maybe around the minute 3:30 mark, depending on if Scotty on Zac decides to skip a camp to go gank top or mid. We might see action around then. Same thing for Smugs, honestly, on Udyr. If he decides to maybe skip his Krugs, because I'm assuming he's going to be pathing top. Yep, looks like it. Both junglers will be pathing top. There might be a big 2v2 at around the 3-minute mark, as soon as they're completing their clears.
I also like the skin synergy between Empyrean Zac and Jhin right now. I think it doesn't mean anything. No, obviously not. But you got the mental edge there. You got some skin synergy going on. You're feeling like you're working well together. Both junglers did start bot, and that could be important in a few minutes when Shen and Aatrox switch. This is a very volatile matchup. I have a lot of experience on Shen. Those first couple levels before Aatrox turned into a monster, getting that world breaker, it is important to Shen to try to stay at least even.
Yes. Shen really doesn't win most lanes, especially, well, not unless you're Xpetu, but that guy's insane. Okay, so we've got an engage coming in here.
First hook and flay, they hit level 2. Yep, they hit level 2 before blue side did. So they're going to punish Karma, getting her down really low and forcing the flash away.
This is gonna be a little bit dangerous, because if Thresh is able to land another hook along with the Glacial Augment, it might just secure a kill if it lands on a Karma, but they might look for a re-engage here.
Yeah, and now the Caitlyn unknown newbie is going to be down to half health. I think that is a worry that your team is going to have every time, is every, let's say, 10 or so plus seconds when Mr. Gilly has that hook ready. Caitlyn is one of the best ADCs in the game at following up on the supports engage.
Yes, with her Yordle Snap Trap, I believe is the actual name of the ability, she can just sort of lock people down, which is why Kate Lux has been so dominant.
Yeah, and then in mid lane, Dab Master 9002. We'll just call him Dab Master, an interesting enough name. Against Anivia, both have solid wave clear, so that should hopefully mean that they can get out of lane quickly enough and over to them. Oh, and first blood, we actually missed it. Rakusi is going to go down first, giving that first kill over to Caitlyn, exactly who you would want it on.
Yeah, really good for Caitlyn to be getting ahead here, considering she is going to be their hyper carry comp. Interesting that Udyr is not going to try and get that second crab. Just wants to probably recall, maybe get his boots or... Nope, Kindle Gem. Okay.
And now that Thresh has been freed to walk through the river and place more see where Zac is at, while Caitlyn is recalling. Taunt from the Shen. So it doesn't look like it's working out in his favor here, as he's taken a little more damage than the Aatrox. Not the greatest taunt position, as the moment he got into Aatrox, you started taking minion aggro as well there. But these are kind of what these trades can look like in this top lane.
Yeah, it looks like Charybdis really just wants to push this wave in, make sure that they get their crashing. Then, oh, this is not good for Shen. This wave is going to freeze if Aatrox decides to. Okay, never mind. Aatrox will decide to not freeze this wave. Instead, just gonna opt to, I guess, push it back and then recall himself. Considering that Shen has. Oh, Shen is baiting in a bush, I believe. We do see in the mid lane that Anivia is losing out on the initial push to Neeko. Neeko has a lot more effective range than Anivia, actually, being that her third auto attack is very strong and she has her root through minions, but it looks like Udyr might be going for something a little bit odd. He's standing in a bush. Gonna clear out this mid vision, so Neeko has to back off.
Oh,
Shen.
Women of Dormy's actually really low. Shen doing his best to try to get him down. No Ignite, though, so not going to be able to finish it off. So instead, Women of Dormy is going to stay alive for now. It just shows how volatile those early lane matchups in top lane can be. Thresh actually, Mr. Gilly
roaming
is
all the way up
going
top.
all the way to top lane, went from base to top, and Aatrox is pushing forward. So it's actually in a really bad spot. There we go. Aatrox, Women of Dormy going down, and Charbdis is going to get the kill. A great roam from the Thresh there, helping out his Shen, which desperately is needed against an Aatrox. This is, however, going to give your team the dragon, though.
Yeah, losing out on first Infernal is pretty risky because it's such an important dragon, but it looks like there's...
Oh, the red team
Smugs is going to steal it.
Smugs
Let's see if they can win the fight, though. Neeko is level 6.
Or Scotty OP, excuse me, is stunned, has to flash away, so the jungler is no longer in the fight. Shen flash taunt, getting two, is going to force both Jhin and Neeko to flash just to get out of the pit. So what seemed like a trade of we'll get a kill top and you can get drag because of Stand United and Shen's utility. Look, Aatrox is just hitting he's just hitting the turret. Shen is helping, clear objectives.
Yeah. Really disaster scenario for I believe it is for blue side to lose that dragon off that trade because Infernal is so strong early. It's a lot of adaptive damage for both sides that only gets better as you scale, and we see that Shen will be building Heartsteel, but on top of that, Anivia was able to get a kill. Karma died again, and their bot lane is going to be very, very much ahead in this fight. We see that the vision has been cleared out of River for bot side that blue side had, meaning that's going to be a lot easier for Udyr to maybe come bot if he wants to in the coming 5 minutes. We also see Jhin flash is down, so that could present a window opportunity for either Thresh or Udyr, really.
And Death Cards, as of right now, has almost a 2,000 gold lead. Getting the first blood and the dragon and those 2 follow-up kills has definitely led to that, but there's no lane necessarily that is out of control right now. Flash hook is not going to work out for Death Cards there, and now Aatrox is level 7, so he has ultimate available. It was important for Shen to get that first kill so he can be up a little bit on gold just to even it out with the Aatrox there. But the longer it goes on, and once Aatrox pops the world ender, the Shen might just want to start walking back towards the turret.
Yeah. Once Aatrox pops his ulti, it is very difficult to kill him because he gets so much more Omnivamp from that ability on his E. Shen really can't fight him unless he's poked him down into Oblivion before. But it doesn't look like that really is happening. Just sort of posturing on this wave, trying to keep it from getting stuck. Just gonna probably try to shove this in. They'll see Thresh is here, but there is a fight in River.
Yep, Smug's going after Scotty, gonna force him back towards his blue buff there, not going to be in the river. So Aatrox obviously has to be really scared about this, knowing that if the gank came through, he would not have had help from his jungler. But fortunately for your team, the red side decided not really to invest. And now it's time for Zac to go in. Shen overstaying there. Zac is going to ult as well, bring him down really low, and Women of Dormy actually getting the kill there. So the somewhat indecisiveness on Death Card's side, as they didn't help with a gank immediately, ends up costing their Shen.
Yeah, they actually had numbers advantage there if they had just kept with the rotate with Udyr and Thresh is going to be going for a Hex Flash hook play here. This should result in a very dead, very dead Neeko. Now, if they do want to walk up and take this fight, they likely can. Anivia does have mana, but it looks like they will just opt to walk it out. Down bot, Caitlyn taking up a very solid CS lead over Bernie here on Jhin. He's kind of just getting forced under because Jhin can't really contest a traditional ADC in the 1v1. His force shots are not, or 4 bullets are not very effective at stopping the very large amount of bullets that Caitlyn has in her gun.
Yeah, that's what, you know, Unknown Newbie's really relying on is to get this early CS lead. And gank from Smugs onto Women of Dormy, getting the stun. It's 2v1. World Ender is out, is not going
He's gonna heal a lot.
No, actually, that's a lot of healing. I stand corrected for thinking it would have killed him earlier.
He might be able to turn this and get out. Well done.
Smugs is out of the fight. He had to walk away, which meant Shen also could not stay, because if he kept pursuing without the aid of his jungler, it would have been a kill for Women of Dormy. So a great job of handling that 2v1.
Yeah, without Shen having any out. Okay, no hook landed. Any form of anti-heal from Ignite or even just a Bramble Vest, it's really hard to actually make sure that the damage you deal to Aatrox actually stays, especially now that he has Eclipse. He's going to be healing a lot more and dealing a lot more damage if they let him hit those sweet spots on his Qs. It's going to be very dangerous if they try to actually fight him when he has World Ender up. But now looks to be time for the next dragon fight. We see that there is not actually a lot of vision controlled in the area. Or
there's a hook for Mr. Gilly. Deathbox being used, forcing the flash out of Rakusa here. Every time he gets hooked, it seems like Karma just has to flash flash to safety. But now you're not going to have that pivotally for a potential dragon fight. Scotty OP going to gank into Unknown Newbie, forcing
we see that Caitlyn's able to get away.
She is safe, but at the cost of her flash. Now it's a 3v3 in
but
the bot lane.
They're going to be able to get this Karma probably, who doesn't have flash anymore. Well, good play by Thresh there.
And yeah,
sure
so
that she can't get out.
The third death of the game for Karma. Right before, you know, they could, if they wanted to, try to head over to Dragon. You have the team, having bot lane support you, and Nivea also roaming down to the Dragon as well to help potentially with this Chemtech and giving you a 2-dragon advantage.
Yeah, getting this dragon advantage will make it really hard for Blueside to get back into this game because they don't have the advantage of facing the dragons actually. And okay, he's just gonna opt to jump out of there. Zac probably tries to go for Herald here to trade the objective over, and we can see Charybdis just getting poked out under the tower with Eclipse. You can see the real strength of that item giving you so much damage, especially when Shen hasn't built any defensive stats, just health, because he's going for Heartsteel. Do want to see what Anivia ends up building here, if she will opt for Liandry's or a different mythic item. Jhin will likely be going for his Gale Force, Karma probably going for Shirelius. Seems to be the trend for that champion. Really interesting to see what Zac will end up going for once he recalls here, after he gets this Rift Herald. And hopefully I'm not going insane and he will actually recall eventually.
I mean, as of right now, all he has is the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, you know. It's understandable since Zac likes to move around the map, but obviously the stronger you can get either AP or health wise. There seems to be, I would think there's a lot of damage on the team right now, and they might maybe appreciate a tank more. Tank build more out of Zac. He does drop the Herald top though, so
yeah, they're gonna get this. They're gonna get all these plates funneled into Aatrox here. I think he only split 2 of them, which would be the final tower and that last plate. So that Aatrox got a lot of money out of this top lane, and he's going to be very strong in these coming team fights. We'll see if he can actually make an impact. We see Anivia and Caitlyn both getting bounties, which, Aatrox opting for Merc Treads, really good here. There's a lot of CC coming from Shen, the slow from Anivia and Udyr, and then obviously Thresh's entire kit.
Yeah, pretty much every button he has, except for the helping his teammate there. But Unknown Newbie having that with obviously getting first blood and then a huge almost 30 CS lead. That's where the shutdown comes from. But Zac with the hit
the lantern. He does hit the lantern. Shen, okay, Zen United's gonna be coming out. Flash ult from Zac. Curtain Call
Is
will
it
be
not-
burned.
it-
They're not going to get Caitlyn. Rikusi is going to try to get a stun here, but Zac will die. Very good flash hook and very good 4-shot to get the kill. Now this should end up completely positive for red side here. What?
Oh no, he stayed in turret range, so that's a double kill for the Jin. Really tough from the Thresh, who's been playing very well. Mr. Gilly with a really strong presence in this game so far, but a unfortunate misplay to stay under turret range and go for the hook again, locking yourself into taking, more turret aggro.
Yeah, it was completely even. I spoke it into existence there, but Mr. Gilly decides that he will die. He does not want to continue living in this lane, and we'll try to trade for the Karma, or sorry, the Jin, but does not end up getting away with it. Very greedy by him, but we're gonna see that Jin did just get a lot of gold. One of his kills was a shutdown, and obviously Zac going down. Zac probably going for either Jock Show, very fun item, considering his builds. He might, yeah, it should be Jock Show here, I believe. As we can see. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it would make sense as we were, talking about the team would really appreciate the tankiness from Zac more than the damage, because you have Aatrox and Neeko and Jin. Even Karma can lay out damage as well, so definitely would make sense for that to be the build path for Zac.
Yeah. It appears that both junglers will be building Jock Show. Very cool item. But we do see that Udyr is actually very much ahead on his jungle pet item. What actually did he opt for? Let's see. Udyr opted for Squirtle, and Zac opted for Bulbasaur. Very cool to see. Bulbasaur will eventually grant Zac a shield and tenacity, while Squirtle grants movement speed out of bushes. And after clearing caps, it's actually very good. People underrate it a lot.
And Smugs has Jack Show now on that recall, so not only that's the difference with the kill and the huge CS lead is now if they're 45 seconds from now, this third dragon fight, if it is going to go down, your jungler would have such a huge advantage over the other one, both in its
it's the Radiant Virtue on the Zac actually. Okay, so one of them is opting for a more tanky frontline, while the other is opting for a supportive frontline. Udyr will probably just be trying to... Oh, interesting to see Anivia is recalling here instead of trying to take control of the mid wave right before this dragon. She does have teleport.
No, that could be a way if they can... Maybe Thresh puts down a ward for Anivia to get back in time. And Zac, Scotty going but not landing on anybody. Not a great spot. Curtain
Call in a lot of danger. His ghost has been burned.
Yep.
We're going to see the box come out. Caitlyn has been dove on. Really good play by Zac here. And here's that dangerous team fight coming in that I was talking about earlier. Their team fight is so much stronger, especially with this Aatrox. Really well done flash Q. Or sorry, Q flash. And I was actually going to start talking about how oppressive Caitlyn can be when she gets to the objective first, but Zac does invalidate that, being able to jump over the walls. We had Aatrox teleport, or he didn't even teleport, he just walked there. Good on him. Good top of the line macro. He walked down. They got their number advantage. They got the huge engage by Zac to sort of disrupt their bot line. Or sorry, disrupt their back line, making sure that Caitlyn does in fact die here. And they'll probably try to poke around.
Yeah, Mr. Gilly's going to try to see what he can do, but hooking the dragon,
would have been an incredible steal.
Not a really valuable target for you. And then the blue team is going to get their first dragon of the game. Trying to
there's a re-engage here.
The Cloud Soul. Unborn Newbie trying to go in, but Neeko is going to stun there, so not going to be able to follow up from Caitlyn, and then the root follow up as well from Jin. So I really like the synergy between Jin and Neeko for your team. Is they're really able to essentially like follow up on each other's CC.
Yeah, they're both really long range with their respective CCs, with Neeko's snare being able to go through minions. Obviously, in these river fights, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but it can snare multiple people. And then Jin's W being able to root people from such a long range allows for a large amount of follow-up. And it looks like the idea behind the Jin here was to have that longer range follow-up, since if he gets anywhere near Shen or Udyr, he'll be in immediate danger. So looks like they're just trying to play around his longer range W and ultimate in these team fights, and relying on Aatrox and Neeko for that more upfront damage.
Rift Herald is up for the next, less than a minute if either team wanted to go forward. Typically, you don't see the second Rift Herald not get picked up, even just for, just a little bit of tower crashing there, even if it can't help you get a full thing. But with 30 seconds left, there might be a fight. Both teams kind of realizing time is of the essence here. But because they have the same idea, it looks like they're going to be playing it a little safer.
Yeah. We can see that Death Cards is actually still up ahead on gold, though that team fight in the third dragon fight, my fault, definitely swayed the numbers a bit in the favor of your team. That sounds so weird to say.
Yeah, if people don't know the context, the blue side's team is named your team, so it's a silly name, but makes casters trip up a little bit.
Yeah, we can see that Caitlyn does have a lot more gold than Jin, however, but there is almost just as much of a difference between Aatrox and Shen. Aatrox is very much accelerated. He's got his Eclipse. He's doing just fine with his Merc Treads. Honestly, he could probably opt for a Maw second, building that defensive sort of item while also having a lot of AD, and he'd be just fine, considering that the only form of AD damage will be coming from Caitlyn. Or, I guess, if Udyr decides that he wants to randomly build Lethality after he's already built Tank and Max Q somehow, but I don't think he can do that, you know?
No, I don't think so. But what helps your team, when we see that gold graph, is Zac is back in the game, right? Even with Udyr, even though he was down 40 CS after that dragon fight, picking up 2 kills and then starting to farm a little bit more. So there are positive signs for your team the later this game goes on, that this 2,000 gold lead is not too substantial at this point that it gives the Death Card so much of an advantage.
Yeah, something I do actually want to highlight here is there's so much more vision control for Death Cards here. Gilly has been doing a much better job at controlling wards and sweeping around with his Moby Boots, running around like a madman, trying to make sure that everything has been warded out. It didn't exactly help them at that last dragon fight, but maybe in these coming objectives it will.
Looks like Women of Dormy going to clear that ward, trying to help out in mid lane. But for right now, I guess kind of a waiting room. We have a minute and a half before the next Cloud Dragon, and I'm not sure, because both teams understand it is such a close game, if they want to go for any potential risks. I think for Anivia, I know Caitlyn has the CS lead, but Anivia is the one with the shutdown, 3-0 at this point, winning lane against Neeko. Can the Death Cards get into a position, into a team fight, that they can try to use that advantage in mid lane that they've been able to build up for the first 20 minutes of the game?
Yeah. Interesting to note, Jin, in my opinion, making a slight mistake and opting to build Fire Cannon second here, Caitlyn already having completed her Fire Cannon. As I talked about at the very start of this, Jin, speaking of the devil, there he is. He has completed his Fire Cannon as well. Very odd to be building that item second here into 2 tanks, a Thresh, and an Anivia. I guess he doesn't think that he will be able to get onto any of them and just wants that longer range auto, maybe for more securing. Maybe he can run them down easier. But personally, I do think LDR would have been far, far better here, just to allow him to actually hurt those big tanks that are going to be standing in front of him. And even Shen, he's building full armor. Like, he is not going to take damage from Jin.
Yeah, that is a lot of armor, even with just the one item, 1.5 items, I should say, for Shen right now. But the dragon is spawning right now. Death Cards wanting to get to Dragon Soul Point or Cloud Point if they were able to get this, and obviously your team is not going to want to have that. So we have a 5v5 in the jungle right now, in the river.
All right, here's Zac going in. Gonna get a good engage off.
Mr. Gilly has to flash.
Huge Neeko flash.
Oh, so low. Love
Stand
is
United is going to come down to
Anivia,
but everyone is going to die. This is a horrible fight for Death Cards. They're just going to be completely overwhelmed by the Zac engage, along with the Neeko flash ulti, along with her Hextech rocket belt. It was beautifully played. And here, that team fighting strength is coming into play. They're going to be able to pick up a lot of gold here. They're going to even swing it back in their own lead. And they might even try to go for a Baron here after this.
if they have the time, Smugs is getting up in 10 seconds. Like everybody's gonna spawn at the same time there. But now with that gold lead changing, evening out the dragon count as well, you can definitely say that your team is securely back in this game. And the 4-1-4 Aatrox, the Nico as well picking up the double kill there, I think what's really helpful with, we mentioned the Jhin Nico synergy, is they're really able to get everybody, or the rest of the team is able to get everyone down low, and Nico and Jhin are able to
finish them off. Yeah,
secure those low health kills. So there's a lot of synergy from your team in this match.
Yeah, honestly, that team fight was perfectly played. Oh, we're gonna see Aatrox actually opting to go for Cyrildas here. Actually, good itemization by him to try to make sure that Shen and Udyr can't just stand there in his face and not take damage. Looks like Death Cards are going to try to take them control back.
Oh, had to walk back just to get it. Smug still got it in the end.
Oh, what is Birdie? Birdie?
Yeah.
Birdie's gonna have to flash there. He got a bit too confident. Walked up the Thresh.
Well, he's got the shutdown now. He's feeling confident. The team's back in the game. Maybe you're not thinking as well. You're not thinking as clearly in that moment. You are. Just remember, Birdie, you are still the ADC. I know you're feeling strong right now, but you do not want to walk into an Udyr and Thresh right in their face. You can try to zone them off of this, as 25 minutes in Baron could be a big objective for either of these teams, as it's so close in gold right now.
Yeah, it really is actually a lot closer than it may seem, but your team's team fighting has just been absolutely phenomenal here, and looks like they will start up this Baron. They've got a lot of vision control, a lot of control over the pit with Zac, Karma, and Nico. If anyone tries to jump in, it'll be very difficult for them to stop. Now, their Baron is pretty slow because they have Jhin and not a traditional ADC damage output. So, okay, so they're gonna see this happening thanks to the blue ward.
Oh, Aatrox is gonna rotate. Aatrox is gonna teleport in. Finish try to force off the red team. Smugs walking the long way around towards the Baron pit, down to around 30% HP. Zac is giving up on it, going to go right after Smugs. Jhin with the root, gonna bring them down. Smugs is still trying his best though, not able to get a kill.
Fight is really bad for your team. They weren't able to execute their engage, and they will just be run down by the Shen and the Udyr, just completely frontlining for Caitlyn. Caitlyn was allowed to free hit in the backline there because they weren't able to actually fully engage. That is the weakness of their comp. While they do have a very strong team fight, it's very strong for engaging, not so much for peeling back, or even if they miss their first engage, there's not much they can do. And they will actually pick up this Nash, making this game very, very interesting. Birdie's gonna probably get away here. Shen hopefully won't try to tower dive him. That would be very painful to watch.
Yeah, I really...
We'll just clear out this wave, pick up this tier 1 top tower, and then go back to farming, like it was before. Return to that neutral game state. But that's big for...
well, I just wanted to say, that's huge for Death Cards, because I was following Udyr through so much of it. He started trying to go north as Woman Adore Me was TPing in, so it was, alright, change of plan, we're gonna go south, boys.
Gonna live all the way around.
Getting a strong engage actually in with the Phoenix at the beginning, but then kind of just like biding his time, waiting for your card to blow a lot of their abilities, and then all at once, bam, that triple kill, which flipped the game back into their favor, which they had before, and now they're back in with a 3,000 gold lead. So I just think Smugs played that as the team coming in to the Baron fight. That was okay, Love
accidentally pressed the wrong button on their keyboard, but that's okay.
Happens to the best of them. But no, I just think Smugs played that fight really well.
He did. And interesting to note that Zac does not have his second item yet. Udyr almost has his third. Very big difference in the actual items here. Looks like Caitlyn has opted to build the longsword and the pickaxe of her Infinity Edge first over the pickaxe crit cloak like Jhin has. She has a lot more damage, and especially if she's allowed to just straight up free hit in the backline like she was in that last fight, she will make a big difference in these fights with these damage outputs. As for Jhin, I'm actually surprised they actually went... I'm saying actually a lot. I'm surprised they went for that Baron there, considering the fact that they didn't have... Okay, Caitlyn's caught out here. Gonna be a Jhin lockdown, but it looks like Extend United was burned.
Zach he has to flash as he's ulting there, so not a great use of that team fight ultimate from Scotty in this moment. That cooldown is down with 4 seconds before the Cloud Dragon fights again, or spawns, excuse me. So now you're not gonna have both the flash and that crucial ultimate from Zach here in this fight. Now having a big advantage. Shen is really trying to just fend everybody off, not letting Zach get in, and now the red team gets their third Dragon
here's
of the game.
engage. Karma getting hooked out is very dangerous.
All we see Karma doing in this game is flashing after getting hooked. Scotty OP is down. Curtain Call is not going to do
the Aatrox engage is going to get picked out. Caitlyn in World Ender. He's going to get the resets. That's 2 kills for him, and it's what looked to be a really great fight for Death Cards has turned into tragedy. Anivia is probably going to be able to get out thanks to her wall, but that was an incredible flank by Aatrox there, being able to get to their backline, ignore those tanks and Shen and Udyr that they had. Never mind, I spoke too soon, Jin died. And so did the egg.
Now the egg. Scrambled eggs, there it is. So Women of Dormy 7-2-5 right now. Gonna keep pressing on against Smugs. Came from the Krugs in that team fight and really flipped the entire momentum there. Women of Dormy, I think at a certain point you can know you're not gonna chase down an
Udyr. He's out. Just leave him alone.
What that fight looked at like really poor at first. Karma flashes out. Scotty dies right away. But Women of Dormy, they kind of lost track of Aatrox, which is arguably the most important person for the Death Cards to be aware of who is or where they are on the Rift right now.
Yeah, something that we missed during that, Scotty actually got a really good re-engage after he was able to back out of that fight, got a bunch of knockups, and then Aatrox was able to chain into that and make sure that Caitlyn was actually one-shot before she could fully take over that fight. That was very odd fight in the first place. Karma walking up and then getting hooked and then flashing away, but I guess it was all just a masturbate from Rakusi. He's clearly better than all of us combined.
He's 0-6 at this point, but in that moment, I think it is the 4th time we have seen Rakusi
him get hooked and then have to flash out. Yes.
Yeah. So, but at least this one, they, he can just say that they have lulled the other team into a false sense of security, thinking that it was gonna work out. But Death Cards are 3 minutes away potentially from getting a Cloud Soul if they can just try to hold out with only around a 3,000 gold lead. So it's been back and forth. It's been ping ponging this match. I would definitely, if I'm looking for, I don't know, or ask your thoughts. Like we already talked about Aatrox being the most important for your hero, but who do you think on Death Cards is the one that has to step up the next team fight?
It's definitely got to be Caitlyn. Caitlyn is their main source of any damage whatsoever. If she gets caught out like she did in that last fight, it's game over for Death Card. She really has to take the pressure on that role of, just going to be a Caitlyn ult for poke here on the Bernie. Going to be doing a lot of damage. She has 3 items. So is Jin. But yeah, Caitlyn has to take control of these fights. She has to play safe, but she really needs to be careful because Aatrox can take so much control over areas. Gonna see just a very...
Yeah, Scotty goes for the engage. Caitlyn actually gale forcing forward there on almost a full health target, so you're not doing a lot of damage, and Scotty is forced to ult out. Current Call, look how low Jin is. Jin is 1 HP, but he's going to have
Karma's going to get rid of it.
It's like clockwork. A hook onto Karma leads to Karma's death and another kill for the red side there. So Smugs is going to be at half health. Thought about recalling, but actually looking to re-engage. As you do have all 5 of your team here, you might as well try to push down mid there. But Shen not actually getting any value out of that taunt.
Really surprising. It looks like Scotty actually forgot that the... never mind, we're going back in again. Alright, we're going to see an engage by Thresh. We're going to be engaged by Zach onto Thresh. Aatrox is going to just go in for a bit of poke. Not going to get much done. What?
That's a lot of half health. That's a lot of half health, team, and it's time
got actually snared.
Aatrox to try to 1v5. Flash Q in, taking down the Caitlyn. Their source of AD is down. A shutdown going over to Women of Dormy.
Aatrox will not die.
Smugs is 1 hit. Shutdown for Jin. Bernie is able to get a little bit of revenge in this matchup. The stun again and a double kill. 6, 2, and 8 for Bernie, now all 5 of their team alive with 4 dead on the other side. That math equals out to Baron.
Yeah, this will definitely be a Baron. There will be no stealing or kiting away from this one. They're free to take this out of control. Bernie actually hit a very, very well-aimed W onto Caitlyn there, which led to Aatrox being able to fully engage with his ult and flash, going in, hitting multiple sweet spots onto 3 people and just healing back up to full, even when it looked like he was low. So we're gonna see that Baron's gonna be taking only a very low gold, not a large gold lead, only about 1,000 actually, in terms of your team. Even as much as they've been winning these fights, they are gonna pick up a dragon. Should be in a... I don't believe they have objective bounties, not sure. But this is close. This is a very close game, and it really depends on how these team fights go.
I think that's the story of how this entire game has gone. Like, look at it's both at 57,000 gold, both with 3 dragons apiece. Each team has taken a Baron now at this point. So really, 5 minutes from now, it's been a really exciting 35 minutes back and forth. But at 40, it could be decisive, that soul fight. And depending on if Karma gets hooked or if Scotty has to waste the ultimate on the way out. Like, I've seen the last couple of fights, Scotty is using his ult to just stay alive instead of being engaging. Because if you can get the bounce house into the queue for Aatrox and Neeko as well, like, I really think their best chance is to make sure Scotty has an effective jump in and then starting the bounce house off right.
Karma was definitely in danger there, but gonna get away with her Shurelius. Very interesting to note, actually, that Death Cards does not have a lot of effective anti-heal. They only have Thornmail on... Okay, it's just gonna smite that blue buff and get away. They only have Thornmail on Shen, which, if you didn't know, Thornmail will not actually grant anti-heal if the opponent doesn't auto-attack you, which means it isn't actually the best item into Aatrox. It's much better on champions like Anivia, who did just pick up an Oblivion Orb. But she is only going to have that 25%. Anti-heal has not been buffed up yet. That will be happening soon, though. Praise be. Please, give us better anti-heal.
And Unknown Newbie is building Bloodthirster leading into it, which I think is really smart, because we've seen at so many fights, Caitlyn staying roughly at half health and then realizing it's just low enough for Women of Dormy to one-shot him. So with the Bloodthirster, I really like the extra healing there to try to get healthier in those matchups. I like that adaptive building out of Caitlyn.
Yeah. Looks like your team is just going to try to take control of mid lane here, using their Baron buff to maybe push up and siege a tower, but Death Cards is doing a pretty good job at just turtling up, just collecting these waves, making sure that they can't actually engage or do anything with their lead that they have at the moment. Now, they are going to try to take a numbers advantage on Aatrox here. He could be in danger if Thresh is able to land a hook. He does have Flash and Ignite up, but Aatrox will just be able to dash away with his very low cooldown dash, considering he has got 1.5 billion cooldown reduction.
And level 18, so that means everything is maxed out on as low as it can be there. So they are going to recall as just trying to reset a little bit there. The 2 shutdowns on the Rift right now are on Aatrox and Jhin, so those typically would be the high priority targets anyway for Death Cards, but obviously in this scenario that could be even more incentive to go after the Jhin. They almost got Jhin in that last fight. He was literally like 1 auto away from being down to like
very start of it before he got away.
Yeah, so could be crucial if you can get rid of this 4-item Jhin now, which is going to really start popping off in fights.
Yeah, honestly, this, in my opinion, this Aatrox is honestly the most dangerous thing on the Rift currently. He is full build, has Spirit Visage and the Death Dance, along with 3 damage items. He is one tanky boy, and he's going to be putting out a lot of damage. You really need to be able to play these fights slow and try to kite away from their engage, because your team's team fight potential is all in that full frontal engage that they have with their Neeko ult, with their Zac and E and ulti. If Death Cards is able to kite away, play it slow, let Anivia's ultimate, Udyr's Phoenix stance, Shen's just general tankiness, and Caitlyn really ramp up, they should be able to actually win fights. It's just, can they survive that initial engage and get away?
It is also a 4-item to 2.5-ish, 2 and 3/4 item build on Zach's side there, building towards the Spectre's Cowl, having the Bombing Cinder as well.
He's building every item he wants to. He's trying to get Spear of Ages. He's also trying to get Sunfire.
Yeah, there's the
Sunfire.
That's cool. So now it is 3.5 items there. Zach feeling definitely a little bit better. As we do have 30 seconds before the dragon, and one thing we had on death cards before one of the dragons is they all recalled with that 30 seconds left and didn't sweep out and get the vision advantage. This time around, actually making the adjustment and correctly trying to get that advantage before it spawns.
Yep. Zach's going to be trying to clear out Caitlyn traps here. He's going to be pretty safe to do so, as he doesn't really take damage from Caitlyn, just unless it was a headshot. But even then, just going to be Thresh trying to get a cheeky flay to maybe flip Scotty over the wall, try to force him to use his E to get out. And here we see this is once again a replay almost of their positioning.
Oh, there's Zach. He's channeling it. Is he going to go in? The answer is yes, but the play from Mr. Gilly saying no. Flash.
Zach Flash Q is going to be able to get onto Caitlyn, but they're kiting away really well. Nico's has
down.
Burned her ult. Aatrox has used Deathbringer. This fight is going slow, like I said. This is really ideal, but Aatrox Flash Q is just going to completely wipe out. It's really going to be, can Aatrox kite this out well? And it looks like...
It's 4-on-1 actually, because Unknown Newbie is there, and finally the raid boss goes down. It's just Bernie alive. Curtain call, try to steal the dragon,
Oh my god, he got it.
Bernie steals the Cloud Soul away, and every time we count out your team.
Why? Why? This fight was over. They're gonna go to Baron now. But oh my word, what a fight actually. It did actually play out exactly like I said, with Death Cards being able to kite out and play it slow. They weren't actually able to get onto Caitlyn and bring her down, meaning that the sustained damage was just too much for all of their tanks. Nico went down really early on in the fight, but did get her CC off. However, after that, they didn't really have the damage. Aatrox alone wasn't able to take care of all 4 members like he was last time, and they end up dropping this going down. But Bernie picks up the dragon anyway, because they forgot to stand in front of the Drake to block the ultimate shots.
I think after the first one went off, maybe there could have been a signal in their head like, hey guys.
Maybe we stand in front of this thing, block these bullets.
A little dangerous, but maybe just a victim of the moment, feeling a little excited about, getting the almost ace, finally taking down the Aatrox, who's been so problematic for them. This whole team had a little bit of a lapse in judgment there, and now with the Cloud Soul, they are still down a couple thousand gold, but at this point, people are so full build or almost at full build that's hardly relevant at all when Cloud Soul evens it out. Caitlyn is down all the way actually, and thanks because of Bloodthirster, now Caitlyn is back up to full HP, so that is the itemization working out for Unknown Newbie in this matchup. They have the Baron. They're going to try to push it in while they can here, but you have some strong clear wave clear, I should say, helping out, not as much as the side of Death Card though, because of Anivia, and Shen bringing in the bot lane as well.
Yeah, it looks like Shen has actually made or built a Knight's Vow, and looks like, yep, that is on Caitlyn. Very good for her to be able to redirect some of the damage that she takes back onto Shen, and it looks like they're just going to siege out this mid lane tower with their cannon minions, who are powered by Baron, unless they
it needs one more. The cannon needs one. There he is. There's the little Baron cannon minion that could. And now on to the inhibitor. This is going to go down much faster.
For an end here, or are they just going to try to take this inhibit back off?
You could try to take bot as well while you have the Baron buff. Everybody rotating down to bot, and that is exactly what we're going to see right now. Deadmaster going... Oh no! The stopwatch is being used. Going to stop Caitlyn's ult. They're going to keep him alive, and now Deadmaster is going to be forced to recall here, and that is another turret down. Can they get the second inhibitor as well? The answer is yes. Hook is going to go wide, but here is the end game here. Will it be the World Ender keeping them alive? Will Aatrox, Women Adore Me, keep your team in this match, or are the Death Cards going to go up one game? Scotty with the engaged play from
Caitlyn gets all of his CC down. Caitlyn is in the bottom of the fight. gets the stand united, shielding her for her entire health bar, able to take out Karma. Now she can join back in this rest of the fight. And will it be Aatrox raid bossing again? No. And it looks like that will spell the end. Okay, alright. I don't want to talk about the flash we just saw from Anivia. But that will be the end of this first game.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a bit of an ambitious engaged from Zach there, trying to really get in, make a desperation call.
I guess desperation is a fair word to use at that point. I think Zach is kind of it's kind of a double-edged sword, engaged champion, I guess I should say, because you can hop in and land on 3 people, but then once you're in there, Caitlyn can place her traps, and the Udyr is just massive at this point in the game, especially the Anivia as well. It's like you're going in, but then once you get in, if your team is unable to follow up with you quickly enough, it's not going to be enough for the Zac to stick around.
Yeah. I do want to make sure to remind us all that there is the giveaway, so make sure to use your channel points on that giveaway thing. The giveaway entries, make sure you're in there. I believe Yeti is picking after this game? Not sure. Apathy decided to drop, after the series. Okay, so he'll be doing it after the entire series is done. As we can see in the Twitch chat, Apathy dropped about 1.5 billion channel points on these giveaway entries. He really wants that RP.
Hey, it makes sense, excuse me, but we are going to take a quick break as we get set up for game 2 in this best of 3s. Are Death Cards going to win with the clean 2-0, or will your team force the game 3? You're going to find out when we come back.
Yeah, see you guys then.
and welcome back to the Tranquility Gaming second League of Legends Clash Cup. Here, having in the semifinals between your team and Death Cards. Death Cards are one game away from punching their tickets to the finals, which will be broadcast tomorrow night. And your team's going to try to force that game 3. Zemanon and Zip with you on the call for this best of 3, and that game was as back and forth as it can get.
Yeah, a lot of flips between Gold Advantage and who actually had control of the game. It went back and forth from Dragon Fights to Baron Fights to Dragon Fights to Baron Fights over and over. Aatrox was really big last game, and we'll see how this draft plays out, see if there's anything that changes in between, leave any champs open that they maybe might have won before or banned them away.
It looks like your team is still blue side because Scotty and Women Adore Me. So one thing I would like to see from Death Cards is a potential Aatrox ban. It was really strong, and Aatrox is such a great champion. Not sure if that's going to be the last spot, but Bernie is still getting the Samira perma banned against him as he's played 18 of his last 20 games in solo queue has been Samira, and a Camille lock-in first pick.
We're going to see a Camille into actually K'Sante and a Mumu as a response. A lot of CC, a lot of control. And Dab is going to be on Neeko again. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So this draft is actually flying through right now. At this point, excuse me, Dabmaster didn't have the greatest Neeko game. Had some very impactful ultimates while at Dragon, especially. There were a couple fights that were nice there, but interesting to see the lack of prioritization on bot lane yet again, when typically throughout so much of the other meta right now, bot lane is so important.
Yeah, exactly. This meta favoring bot lanes is a bit strange, since sometimes the bot lane is completely irrelevant in the meta, and we're gonna actually see an Udyr ban on top of the Aurelia, Diana, Samira, and Malzahar. And we have, Maokai, Victor, Jax, Aatrox on the side from your team. And finally a Shen ban, making sure that there is no shenanigans with maybe a Shen mid, or I assume mid, since we have a Mumu Thresh already locked in, which would be support and jungle.
Yeah, and then the K'Sante as well. I see the Aatrox and Shen bans there when K'Sante is locked in, is unless they think of Aatrox or Shen mid, like you said, that seems like a curious use of your second round of bans.
This is interesting. We see a Zeri Yuumi from Birdie and Rikusi, which is a sorry, that name. It's a very strong scaling lane. Zeri, after her rework, finally does damage again, and has been a little terrifying in pro play, almost returning to the level of prevalence that she was before she got nerfed into the actual ground. She was hovering at I believe a 38% win rate for a couple of months. Before she finally got her large scope changes. We're going to see Caitlyn Thresh bot lane as well, but most importantly, there's a Lissandra as a sort of counter to the Zeri Yuumi, as well as the Zac Camille. They're going to be looking to lock down those divers and prevent Zeri from even playing the game with their large amount of point-and-click CC. Mumu K'Sante, we're going to be looking to sort of, I believe, play more of a defensive role, keeping Caitlyn sort of like a protect the puppy sort of playstyle. Keep Caitlyn safe. A lot of the same play as last time, with protecting the ADC, letting them do their large amounts of damage in the back, while your team's just gonna be looking to go all in. They're going. There is no. This is do or die for them.
Yeah, there's no long range, curtain calls or anything like that. Zeri's gonna ult, she's gonna go in. Yumi's gonna jump onto Zac as he jumps over a wall and go for an ult as well. I really like that Lissandra adjustment from the Death Cards, because the Camille, if she goes in, you can stop her in her tracks, and then Zac, obviously, we're going to see Scotty is just going to try to get into the Caitlyn's face, and Lissandra's going to say absolutely not in those moments there. So I do have the same concerns. It worked out for Death Cards in game one. We can't say it didn't, because they won the game, but I do have the same concerns on the low damage. K'Sante does do damage, but he's also a tank, so it's hard to consistently make it work. So there is yet again a lot of pressure on Caitlyn in this match.
Yeah, especially if Lissandra doesn't get ahead in her lane into Nico, she will not be contributing that much damage. She tends to not build too much, though here she probably wants to go for like an Everfrost or Liandry's, try to lock down mobility or deal a lot of damage over time with her dot and her large AoE spells. But when it comes to team fights, it's just going to be, can your team get in, and can Death Cards sort of peel back and let Caitlyn deal their damage?
Yeah, and just for a quick recap for, just to see how it's mapped out. So your team, their team of Camille, Zac, Nico, Zeri, Yuumi, and then Death Cards, their team of K'Sante, Amumu, Lissandra mid, Caitlyn, and Thresh. The Caitlyn Thresh were very strong. They did get first blood relatively early in the game now, but fortunately for Ruckus, he's not on the Karma to face tank the hooks anymore, since Yuumi can just hop onto Zeri whenever she wants. So now all the pressure is on Bernie, who honestly performed. I would say Bernie and Women Adore Me were the two best performers in game one for your team. So Bernie as the ADC, having a lot of pressure already inherently, I think is able to handle that pressure headed towards him this game.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Caitlyn, exactly, in order to really output that damage. K'Sante, interestingly enough, K'Sante can actually carry his entire team in terms of damage and tanking. He can be very, very dangerous if he's allowed to get ahead. Because by building tank, he actually just builds raw damage stats, because he's a tank in 2023. He's a very strong champion if he's allowed to get onto a single target, and he can essentially just take them out of the fight completely, not allowing them to even breathe.
Yeah, I've not had fun times facing K'Sante in lane personally. I haven't really played him, but just like he's like a tankier Riven, right? Where a lot is the Q3 and low cooldowns and everything like that. So you would think. But it really is important to balance that when you go all out, because once you do click that ability, your health can't go over your 55% threshold of your HP. So you don't want to at the worst time go down and essentially lose almost 30-40% of your health if you were full health at the start of that fight. So I really do want to see how and with a solid Shen performance in game one, I think Death Card can. Their top laner can try to have a strong K'Sante showing as well here in game two.
Yep. I think they're going to be banking on the strong K'Sante showing, actually, because if he gets behind, he can be bullied very easily, especially by a tank shredder by Camille. So it looks like there's going to be an invade into the top side, into Charybdis, see if they can actually get something here. It will be spotted out, and there will importantly be a ward destroyed. Now I'm not sure completely, because the XP was shared, but Nico and Camille, because they're solo laners, might actually get level 2 1 minion early. So that could be important to note. Might be a bit of a shake-up there in both mid and top.
And yeah, with the point with how important Camille is early game, if she can get that second ability before K'Sante can, where typically tanks are, obviously K'Sante's a little different, but tanks are typically not that great at fighting against a Camille level 1. If she has that advantage, could be huge. But I think we do have, it looks like only the one Ignite in from our solo laners, I should say, is on Dab Master this game. No teleport, instead wanting to, like, if he can get in on a stun target, try to finish them off.
Yeah. Gonna be looking to maybe try to take control of lane prio, maybe get 1 or 2 solo kills in lane onto the Lissandra, who does have teleport. But we'll see how that plays out from here. Just gonna be probably early on, not much is going to happen this game if I had to guess. Bot lane's gonna be very, very much Caitlyn and Thresh are going to push in Zeri Yuumi, and they're not gonna be able to sort of react to that wave clear because it's Yuumi. I mean, what's the cat gonna do?
Yeah, I was going to say, since we have time as they're getting set up, Caitlyn is typically seen as a very strong counter into Zeri, just inherently, and then on top of the fact of if Zeri, or if Yuumi is not really present in the lane, if she's just sitting on Zeri, that just leaves Zeri as an even easier open target for those matchups there. So picking Zeri when Unknown Newbie just picked Caitlyn last game and it was also up as well, they must feel really confident in the Zeri Yuumi combo.
Yeah, they're probably, honestly, it's a bit of an ego pick in my opinion, where Are you really certain that Zeri Yumi's going to be able to farm up, get strong under tower, or maybe they'll even try to gank them, prio them with Bot and Zac, because his ganks are very powerful, though they do have the disengage with Thresh. And we see that K'Sante actually pushed in Camille here, at least on these first two waves, which is a bit interesting because Zac, they probably know, is going to be pathing up topside. So we might actually see a fight break out here.
Going to be important. Q3 is going to get the knock up there onto Camille. Camille, and as you said, did have the minion advance there, so she hit level 3 before K'Sante did, but nothing meaningful happened in that level distance as they're both... you have to, as you were saying, you have to expect a potential gank coming in since both junglers started. And there is a ping actually as well. So the Zac is ready to go in on to K'Sante if he was able to step up. Bernie is going to try to, play safe under turret and has evened out the CS count there. But as the top lane wave pushes towards K'Sante, he's a little safer.
Yeah, it looked like Scotty definitely tried to go for something there, but Camille's just going to push in her wave, get her reset, and they'll go from there. Pretty calm early game. Amumu's just going to full clear back, get a Ruby Crystal and Cloth Armor. Probably going to be building towards a standard Jaksho tank item then. Standard trading in the bot lane. Though interesting to note, Zeri did start Cole and has burned her potion already, so bit of a win there for Caitlyn, who is also down a pot.
Yeah, the call star is interesting. Like, when you mentioned the ego pick, I didn't think about it at B4, but I think it's really starting to come out. Or Bernie was feeling himself with Jhin in that matchup, and feeling like really strong. Unknown Newbie did not necessarily carry after the first blood as well as we expected them to. So if Zeri can stack this call and stay alive against Caitlyn and Thresh, that would be like a double win essentially in the lane.
Yeah, it'd be really big for them to be able to get that extra burst of income. But something to note is Zeri's wave is pushing here, and she's about to be ganked, maybe? No, Amumu's just gonna opt to go to his dragon. He's just gonna walk away. He's looking for friends somewhere else.
Walking by the dragon. Dabmaster could be in trouble though. Luckily the ward will spot out Smugs. Smugs is not aware that Dabmaster is aware that he's there. Doesn't really do anything to help, but the E is going to stun, but because of Bandage Toss, it didn't matter. He was already in the air as he was stunned, and Dabmaster is going to be able to get out without having to waste Flash, which is really huge, but could have been worse.
Yeah, but back here in this bot lane, this is really bad for Zeri. Her wave is pushing out. She really needs some help to get this crash and break this freeze that they could do. Because if Caitlyn's able to stall Zeri from actually walking up due to her lack of support pressure with Thresh, it's really bad for her if she can't free farm. Because her Cole she'll drop CS, she will lose her Cole stacks, and maybe Zac looks for an angle here.
Oh, Zac is ready. Yeah, Scotty was chilling. He's going to hop over the wall. McGilly's going to flash. Zac gonna bring them together. Unknown Newbie ignited as well. Gonna have to stay out of this fight. Smugs is in the area to help and gonna stop the gonna stop potentially the forward press. But Scotty, as you were calling, is helping get this wave under, because the last place Zeri wants to be is pushed out with an Amumu trying to go for her.
Yeah, exactly. That was really well done by Scotty. Going in, he didn't necessarily get his E, but what he did get is a Q initially on the Thresh, who flashed away, and he was able to follow that by flashing onto Caitlyn into auto attack range and pulling them both in. It means that Caitlyn has to burn both her flash and heal, which means that she is vulnerable, and it's not as safe to push up as it was before. Amumu just gonna walk away. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not very safe to go for this contest here. Should just be a first Ocean Dragon. Over to your team. And so they'll take a fairly early advantage. Charybdis and
that is
Camille
different than how Game 1 played out.
Yeah, that's
no, I was going to say
different.
it's different than how it played out because of Death Hands getting the first 2 dragons in that game, and then your team having to try to crawl back into even and keeping out. So that's already a better positive note for your team going into this game.
Yeah, definitely. Top lane has been completely even so far. Looks like they're just bouncing waves back and forth. Camille with her Sheen probably going towards Sunders, considering there's 2 tanks. And then K'Sante, he has armor boots. He's not going to take damage. And
oh, he's still going. Kasate gonna try it out there against Camille. As you said, the tank shredder. Bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a moment, losing a lot of health, and now at a point where Zach can come in, sweeps to try to stay out of vision. Kasate flashing away from Camille there to safety.
it looks like there's going to be a bit of trading here in the bot lane. Oh! Well, it wasn't a hook onto the support, but it was a flay onto a Yuumi, which should never happen. That's very dangerous.
I'll have to see the all chat. Can you leave top for us, please? It is an island for a reason. If you've not been invited, don't attend Top Island. That's how I definitely understand where Kasate is coming from. But when you use the Ignite on Yuumi, who's just able to just hop back onto Zeri to safety, it's kind of like your cooldown's just down and you didn't really get much out of it.
Yeah, really bad that they didn't actually kill the cat there, because they weren't able to get a snap trap to land onto her. So the Yumi's W just goes on cooldown for a little bit there, and oh, this is dangerous. Thresh is level 6, and so is Caitlyn. Oh, and here we have a fight.
Really oh, Kasate's going in! He's all out, and it doesn't matter because First Blood heads over to Scotty. So Scotty has been focusing, very much on his lanes in this matchup, and we were with the CS lead. We even saw Scotty chilling in the tribe push in bot lane for like 20 seconds just to keep Zeri safe and help push out that lane. So I really like this objective focused gameplay and this lane focused gameplay from Scotty here in game 2.
Yeah, he's sacrificed some camps and some tempo, but he's really taken over on terms of ganks, and getting his lanes ahead really saved the bot lane there. Though it might not look like it considering Caitlyn's pushing them under tower, and they do have a CS gap, but if they weren't able to actually get that wave in a ways back, they would have been completely screwed. They wouldn't have been able to do anything, really. And there might actually be a 2v2 fight up top lane here. Or not. Zach's just gonna jump away.
Smugs is doing his best Scotty impersonations, chilling in the tri-bush, and now if he wants to go, he'll see obviously that the Rift Herald is gone, so Zach is somewhere in the area. Kasate going for the 1v1 again into Camille and trying to bait around for Amumu. Amumu starts to channel the recall instead of walking into lane, and now Women of Dormy is going to try to get out using the hook to or the wall to bounce off of to safety there.
Yeah, looked like Charybdis was trying to get Smugs to maybe come in and force, but he was just off time there and didn't exactly have it set up correctly. And oh boy, this is a lot of action we're seeing up topside very early on. Charybdis taking a lot of damage. That is a Camille with Sunder, or sorry, not Sunder, a Sheen, and
and that's a dead Kasate as well. That's a Camille with Sheen and a Kasate in the fountain is the result of that match. I also thought it was funny. Scotty unknowingly, because he didn't have the vision that Smugs was in the bush there, he also could have walked, or if he knew, jumped over into the Amumu. The unsuspecting Amumu might have been a fun battle as well, but accidentally the correct decision was made to go help Camille and get the kill on Kasate.
Yeah, we're seeing your team really play for their top side here. They really want to get this Camille ahead, because into 2 tank she will be feasting, and Death Cards is really just trying to play reactive, and it's not working out for them. Something to note though, Camille Sunder, 1, that's big. 2 is Bernie can't farm. He's so pressured by Thresh, and they're just gonna freeze this wave off cooldown. They really need Zach down here again.
It is, yeah, it's pushing out at this point. 30 CS still left on the call, so 12 minutes in, not necessarily close to finishing that item off. And the hook does connect, bring him in. Flay as well, Deathbox used as well, but Yumi's gonna ult back. Zeri ulting as well, but a defensive ult to get out of the way. Caitlyn gonna get that ult blocked off by Yuumi, and now it's time for Scotty to go in, but thankfully there's a Thresh on the team to bring Unknown Newbie to safety. That's a lot of ultimates just used in that fight to end up with nothing.
Yeah, that's all of bot lane's ultimates down. Caitlyn healed down. Thresh has no summoners. Importantly, Zeri still has Flash, and Yuumi still has Ignite, so they probably are just gonna secure this dragon yet again, which is honestly bad for Death Cards. because your team, their scaling's really strong. Nico as a mage has a lot of damage output, but it looks like they're just gonna back
they're
up
actually
the
backing
Infernal.
off. Yeah,
Scotty definitely
is
can
gonna
go for a steal.
decide.
Looks like he will, and he gets it.
My
Well done.
Dude, your team is just incredible at stealing dragons. We had Bernie do it in game 1, and now Scotty with the leap in there. And now that it is a Cloud Soul yet again, but a completely different game.
Ooh, Cloud Soul. Sorry, it is the most boring soul ever. You press R, you get move
all
speed.
souls in my world. All souls are created equally. You know what I mean? Show some. You know, just
no.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking objectively here, Mountain Dragon giving just an incredible shield, keeping you safe from poke. Ocean Soul being you get a heal every time you auto attack or use an ability for the next or every 5 seconds. Hex Soul giving you an actual slow, giving you if people were still playing an old static shiv. I personally wasn't around, but I know people really like that item, and that soul just gives you one for free. And Chem Soul even giving you damage reduction when you're below half health. And then you look at Cloud Soul and it's like, well, I get to run fast after I press R, which, not to be taken for granted, is very good in certain champions, like Zac. And Zeri.
Yeah, I was gonna say Zac kind of likes it. Zeri especially likes it. So Cloud Soul might not be the best in general, but can have some definite areas for the for your team in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, if I'm Death Cards, I might just want to give them Cloud Soul here. Maybe try to not contest these dragons, go for different objectives, make plays around the map while they're contesting this maybe, or while they're going for this 3rd or even 4th. Because if you look, they really don't benefit that much from getting these Cloud Drakes.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You can try to accelerate the game along, and if you feel it, maybe 20, almost 30 minutes in, you can get it. Oh, but the Flay and Deathbox waiting for the hook, perfectly done by Mr. Gilly, and Bernie is down. Kayla goes down though in the trade. The Yuumi is able to take the Kaylin down. So both ADCs dying, supports living there, and now Camille trying to fight. This is a little different than when you're in 9-2 Aatrox, as you just are a great CS lead. I didn't even realize that till right now. 50 CS up over the K'Sante, and no, K'Sante walks into the river and is just a sitting duck for Scotty to get that kill.
Yeah, really well done by Scotty to recognize that he can use his Q to the longer range version to tether onto K'Sante, and then because that vision cone is there, since the second half only requires him to auto, he's got a second target there, even in the middle of river. Really, really bad for K'Sante here. Charybdis is very behind, and Camille is very, very strong. She's probably got, if we can show gold here for a little bit, she's got a lot of money. She's got 2.4k unspent.
Wow.
And there's
Hextech Ultimatum.
Smugs.
He's stuck in a really bad spot, and now with 2 people chasing him down in the river, going to be eventually dead. Women adore me for a second kill of the game. Make that 2,800 unspent gold, and a very. I'm reading that right? Yeah, 3,000 gold more than the 0-3 K'Sante here, and it doesn't get better because the longer the game goes, Camille is going to be an even more of a menace, and if K'Sante doesn't pick it up, he's just going to be a melee minion.
Yeah, this is really rough here because Death Cards really put all their eggs in one basket, and your team basically said, okay, we see you, we're just going to draft around a bot lane that sits there and farms, and we're going to play towards topside, and what are you going to do about it? And so far, Smugs has not been able to respond. He has not been able to deal with Scotty just jumping in, really messing up Charybdis' entire life in this lane. They really have not been able to play. They've been down on CS, and Camille has just been thrashing them.
Yeah, and it is a close to 50 gold, or excuse me, 50 CS lead for the Caitlyn as well. So that is somewhat neutralizing it to the point that it is only less than a 2,000 gold difference overall. That is, that explains why it is so close, even though Camille is just completely dominating in the top lane. So Smugs on Amumu Is there a way they're down two dragons already? The third one's about to spawn in 20 seconds. This is kind of a pivotal moment for Smugs if he wants to keep the death cards in the game.
And it looks like they are going to try to contest it. We're seeing a lot of assistance pings coming out. They have rotated, your team has rotated their very strong, very fed Camille down, and if we can see items, we'll see what she has built with her very large gold lead. Okay, going towards her Ravenous, standard build. But this dragon's going to shred. Camille has Sunder, which is going to be doing percent max health on this drag. And we'll see if they try to get this contest off with Smugs. He does have a lot of engage. Big ulti.
Smugs is trying and he steals it back. This is just a game of steals. A series of steals. The play as Zach tries to go in is not going to let him. Smugs is trying to walk out, and then Unknown Newbie is also trying to flash. Not going to be able to get away as everybody is following. 4 members of your team were following down Unknown Newbie, making sure to at least get a kill in payback for giving up the dragon.
Yeah, your team loses out on the Drake, but picks up a lot of gold and kills. Caitlyn being just not allowed to play the game there by Scotty, jumps immediately in on her, tethers her with Thresh, and she is just kept from even trying to deal damage. A lot of good shutdowns, or not shutdowns, sorry, but a lot of good CC coming out from Nico as well, being able to lock down everyone, and Smugs' valiant effort does appear to have been in a bit of vain.
Hey, but you're prolonging it out a little bit longer. You got 5 more minutes until the soul spawned, or the potential soul
point,
soul point. Excuse me. So, I think although if you feel like Cloud is not as valuable as the other dragons, which is definitely not, at least you are giving your K'Sante a little time to get back into it. Lissandra building Ludens as well. Jack Show finished for Amumu here and going the Merc Tread. So I'd like to see Lissandra get into the thick of things at an objective, following a Mumu ult into Cassandra ult and then just letting Unknown Newbie in the back line just pound away at the enemy team. And with that Ludens, that can definitely help.
Yeah, for sure. We do see that K'Sante is going to be building the reworked Frostfire Gauntlet. I believe it's called Iceborne Gauntlet now. Going for that mythic to be just dealing a lot of slows and CC and not taking a lot of damage. If he's allowed to scale up in this game and just builds a lot of armor, there won't be many who can actually deal damage to him, because Nico doesn't deal with tanks very well. Or a lot of her abilities don't exactly... Oh, well, we're gonna see Nico as Zeri in the bot lane. Now is Nico.
Oh, it's good. I also can't wait till she can turn into cannon minions into blast cones. It's gonna be. Oh, that's gonna be so fun.
Scotty
engage over at the red buff.
red.
Scotty OP. And Smugs is trying to steal, trying to engage. Yumi ult is out. Scotty's able to get away. Going to use the blast cone. Yumi doesn't stay with him though. Going back over to Bernie, trying there, and Caitlyn is not enough, bringing Dadmaster down to half. But thanks to the help of Lissandra, just like we were talking about, Love is going to get their first kill of the game.
Yeah, Nico can't really run away from just being frozen in place like that.
Zeri almost was able to actually take control of that fight there, really almost able to go off, but it's just too much zone control, too much threat there in the latter half of the fight. Wasn't able to continue going forward. If this keeps going like this, I don't actually know who's favored here, because Death Cards was able to actually pick up a kill onto Nico. But I think if they can get Camille shut down onto someone like Caitlyn, onto someone like Lissandra, it would be huge for them. Because Lissandra is building full damage. It looks like she's going for a Shadow Flame second with that Hextech Alternator already built. So we could see some interesting fights break out here.
I was gonna say, I like that she's going. You mentioned it during the draft that you need this. Lissandra needed to have more damage than the traditional Everfrost Zanya's build that a lot of Lissandras will see in pro play go for. So having Ludens and the Shadow Flame once it's completed is going to help, because you can't rely on K'Sante as much as you thought you were going to into this game on the damage output in a team fight. So there's going to be a lot more onus on the Lissandra to pick up those scraps. And if Camille, if Woman Adore wants to Hextech Ultimate into the Lissandra, you trap each other in essentially in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you could both lock each other down. That wouldn't be ideal for either, actually. But we can see Camille has completed her Ravenous, going to be stacking that up Once that gets all the way completed, she will be very, very strong, and actually very difficult to kill with her passive shielding, and as well as the healing that comes from Ravenous. Zac going for the Demonic into, I believe, Radiant Virtue, such as standard build. And then Amumu, he's got a Jaksho.
And a blasting one. He's doing his best. He's trying to get up to Zac's level, and those 2 kills have really shown to be a big difference there. I also want to note in the ADC itemization, Caitlyn has finished 2 full items compared to Zeri with just the Zeal and the Mythic here, eventually selling the cult that she started with. So down a 450 gold there as well. But this is the second cloud potentially for the death cards. It depends on what Dabmaster and Skadi are going to go for. Skadi has Yuumi on him already, so if you want to leap over the wall, this is the point. 4,000 left. Gonna try to go 2,000. Gonna go over, and the red team is able to secure it. So second cloud of the game. Skadi with the ultimate trying, but Yuumi is no longer helping, leaving the homie out to dry.
Yeah, Yuumi decided that they wanted to live, but while this was happening, Camille's decided to take a tier 2 tower. She has completely opened up the top lane, and they might actually try to collapse onto Women Adore Me here. See if they can't catch him. The Cloud Soul will be speeding them up, but nope. She's out. She's gone.
Would have been nice because, as you mentioned, they really need to get that Camille shut down on their side for additional gold. But trading a tier 2 turret for your second cloud of the game, it has evened out the dragon count, so that could be a win condition. If they can get 4 consecutive Cloud Souls, might help Death Guard out a little bit. But as long as this Camille is looming in side lanes, having that split pushing pressure, you can go fight at your objectives, but it's going to cost you all of your turrets.
Yeah, especially if they're not careful. Camille might be able to take an inhibitor tower with the next dragon if they don't respond to her, since K'Sante clearly cannot do it alone. We see that Zac has completed his Radiant Virtue, and Zeri does have her Phantom Dancers completed. I do wish she was going for the Kraken Slayer build, considering K'Sante and Amumu will be very tanky. So it will be very difficult for Zeri to actually get through them later on, considering this this build of Shield Bow into Phantom Dancers into Infinity Edge doesn't have a lot of raw AD in it. And with Kraken Slayer and maybe even Bork, it would be a bit better, but let's see if there's a fight that breaks out here.
Missing
Bernie getting hooked.
Land? Yep. Oh, Bernie actually flashing out. I think they were safe, actually. I don't know. Especially with the cloud map right behind them, helping him walk away. I don't know if that flash is. Oh, flash Q into Hextech Ultimatum from Women Adore Me. Unknown Newbie is unable to get out, but finally the ult is over. Able to be in safety. Teleport coming from K'Sante, but immediately walking back. Smugs is down to about 10% of his HP. Zeri is going forward, rooted though, right in the spot to hit the turret there. So close to getting it down, but not enough. And no deaths in that fight. A lot of people got very low. Thought the Caitlyn might go down, but I think the K'Sante teleport wanted everybody to, or helped everybody back off. No, wait, Lissandra's gonna go in. All right, fine. We're good.
Looks like it's over, but oh, the Baron at 9,000 health, and I think Death Cards is caught on, but Camille's completely separated. I guess they gotta choose. Are they going? Oh, okay. Ace in the Hole actually picks up the kill on the Camille. Baron's at 3k.
Where everyone thought
can they secure it? Looks
they
like they're gonna fight
out. Now you're gonna have the Skadi's gonna ult, but look how low health he is. He doesn't even kill anybody on the way down. Baron resets, but with Camille dead, who was the best champion in the game for your team. Excuse me, I'm tripping up on their name. And the jungler being down. This is a really bad
huge point up here. They don't actually get this.
So low. They give up on Baron again to go force into the fight. Zeri's down. Love with 4-0-2. Yuumi is dead. Bernie gets a kill back, and Baron goes
up. Making a hero play there.
To full health again. What is going on? We can't finish off Baron because we're too busy killing the enemy team. Camille has already respawned by the time that the fight ended.
So, a big mess there, and to recap that, there was a massive fight broke out
your team was able to push Death Cards back onto their tier 1 tower, but then they separated to break off into the Baron, and Camille was left behind and got engaged on by Caitlyn and the rest of Death Cards, who were able to actually take her out using Ace in the Hole. And then as soon as they started walking up towards Baron, it got down to about 3k health, and Scotty jumps out and tries to engage the fight and ends up dying, which means that they can't finish the Baron. So they get pushed out, and then Death Cards tries to take the Baron, and they turn immediately back onto Zeri, Yuumi, and Nico, but then Nico is able to get away, Zeri and Yuumi die, and then Dab is somehow able to make a hero play using his ultimate to deny Death Cards the Baron, and eventually even kill Unknown Newbie on Caitlyn.
Yeah, getting the, using that Ignite as well. I just think Smugs got the Baron down to, I think it was like 2100 health, I want to say is where I saw it last at, and then deciding to get off of it there. I don't know if that was just a little bloodthirsty out of the Death Cards instead of securing the objectives. You'd already killed the jungler, you'd had that moment, you flipped the Baron at that point to giving you better possession of it. I'm not sure if those couple kills are going to help out. They're going to help with Sandra as she's 6-0, but here is the third cloud of the game is going to the blue side. Your team is able to get that, and they are 1 away from getting Cloud Soul.
Yeah, it looks like Women of Dormy really wanted to try to go for a flank angle there, but they had no way to go in. It looks like Scotty really didn't want to fully frontally engage for whatever reason. Maybe he decided they couldn't actually take the fight. Maybe they were missing... Oh, it looks like Zeri actually used her ultimate earlier on in the fight and didn't have it going in. Maybe that's why they called it off.
Yeah, because they're relying a lot on Zeri right now, especially since the Camille, lost her shutdown. This game is not as wide open as it was before. It's only, under 2,000 gold difference right now, and that 6-0-2 Lissandra is just as scary as the Camille was prior.
Yeah, honestly, if Love is able to get anywhere near to Bernie, it is a lot of damage that will be coming out from them. Having Ludens, Zhonya's, and Shadowflame. A while back, Zanya's got reworked a little bit to be a lot better in some ways than it was. It costs more, but it gives you a lot more stats than it did before. A lot more AP, and it's going to actually be a big amount of damage here for Lissandra. So if Zeri isn't careful in mispositions, she might just get blown up.
Yeah, there could be. I think there's a lot of overlapping ultimate here with Zac and Camille and Lissandra and Mumu. It's just, a lot can really happen in a small area of effect. And there is the ultimate for Scotty, but right away, walking out yet again. Caitlyn, unknown Newbie, not even needing to flash to get out of there. We've actually seen that multiple times from Scotty over these 2 games, ulting and then just walking away with it instead of, following up in that spot. But regardless, it is going to let everybody push towards the Baron for your team.
Yep. And looks like your team will probably just hear this here. Unless Love decides that maybe it is their time to be the hero. But
Lissandra can get in. You can use the E over the wall. It's 1,500 health, and the blue team takes it. So Scotty is able to smite it down. Lissandra not able to take it away there. We have seen a couple objective steals in this game, but that Baron is not one of them.
Yeah, very good sneak coming out from your team. Realizing that Death Cards was not able to contest them, just go ahead and take it. You've got the damage with Zeri, who still doesn't have her Infinity Edge, but importantly, Yuumi opting for the Mikael second. Gonna be playing to keep this Zeri from getting crowd CC'd at all. Maybe they... Oh yeah, definitely thinking for the Lissandra ulti, or maybe even a Mumu.
Yeah, either one, honestly, could work out pretty well. So, Yuumi definitely trying to keep the Zeri in the game, as she is tied to her intrinsically, as they are the bot lane duo. But really, I do think there are some other areas where if Yuumi pops onto Camille as she ults in or tries to go forward, or pops onto this Zac that just got hit by the Thresh hook, there are other areas. But Mikael's as a overall seems like a really smart build here.
Yeah, having Rikusi, you just sit that name. Having them just sit on this very fed Camille, who's very strong, has 3 items, has a fully stacked up Ravenous, and just allowing them to dive onto the Caitlyn in the back lane might just be the way for them to very easily win team fights, is just let Camille get onto Caitlyn, use that Hextech ultimatum, and just one-shot her using the extra summoner spells that you have from your cat just sitting on top of you.
Looking at the CS leads here, for as big, like we said, but 15 minutes ago, for as big as Camille's CS lead is over K'Sante, it's relatively close of a lead for Unknown Newbie. Zeri only having 1 kill as well. So finally, Bernie is able to finish the 3-item power spike on Zeri. So Zeri is officially online in this match, and that could potentially change the next Dragon fight, which potentially is for Soul for your team in 30 seconds.
Yep. And something I do want to draw attention to, Camille is level 17 compared to K'Sante 16 and everyone else's. The only person who's actually matching him is Lissandra. Oh, never mind. All right, we've got to fight. So, Zach is very much caught out.
Zach has to leave yet again. Lissandra is going in. Remember, 6-0 right now, and that just spells disaster for your team as Glove is getting another kill. Zeri is down. A shutdown, though. Nico is able to take the payback from Lissandra. K'Sante trying, but look at how healthy they are compared to him. He's all out, and he is dead. A triple kill for Women Adore Me, and now they can secure, with everybody dead thanks to the ace, secure the Cloud Soul.
Yeah, it looked good at the start with Death Cards being able to catch out Zac, but he is so tanky with Radiant Virtue and Demonic Embrace, and even almost having a fully completed Sunfire, they weren't able to bring him down, not even able to put him into his passive, and then Camille was able to teleport in and just have free access onto their backline, while Lissandra was able to, like I said earlier, completely just one-shot Zeri and prevent her from playing the game.
There was a little bit of tunnel vision going on as well. Obviously, it's a lot harder to kill Camille than the Zeri right now. But going in with Love and popping the Zeri when Camille is the threat. I know Zeri just hit the 3-item power spike and is definitely a viable threat in the game, but it left, just like in game 1, the moments that Women Adore Me kept their team in it kept your team in the match, because they kind of lost track of the Aatrox and now losing track of the fed Camille, getting a triple kill there and securing the Cloud Soul. Like, I think the prioritization on the enemy targets is for Death Cards needs to try to focus on Camille.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, but they also need to be careful with the fact that Zeri is also really strong now, even if it doesn't look like it. If she's not shut down at the beginning of the fight, she can definitely take control and go off completely the rails. Well, it doesn't look like she has a lot. She does have a lot of damage now that her kit has been fully reworked, and with 3 items, she'll be very dangerous if allowed to just sit back and press Q. But we see... Oh. Lissandra's just gonna walk it off.
Definitely don't want to die yet again, especially with she does have, actually, Love does have the Zanyas up right now, so wasn't really necessarily in the spot to die, but your team is trying to push down mid lane right now. We have a minute until Baron spawns again, 4 minutes until the Elder Dragon spawns as well, and this Camille just pushing in the lane.
Yeah, this Camille is a monster in the side lanes right now. No one can really match her, and even Lissandra could die if she isn't careful. It's really going to take multiple members of Death Cards to walk over and try to contest her and push her out of these side lanes.
Can we get the recalls here? It is, looking at the gold, has ballooned a lot more than the early part of the game. Around 7,000 or 8,000 gold here is the lead for your team. Scotty OP, he has not had too many great moments with the ults in, but the engages have been really strong, and the durability and survivability has been strong. Hopefully I didn't jinx him, but no, he's not gonna
take damage.
Mr. Gillies. Yeah.
Oh, but he is gonna get hooked back in with Russian. Here's the highlight.
And now it's time to bounce Hextech ultimatum onto the backline there, and Camille gets Caitlyn. Mr. Gilly is also going to get knocked out. Another kill. That's going to be an ace for the blue side, and that is going to be the game, and we will have a game 3 here in the semifinal.
Wait. I mean, with death timers this long, there should be no reason that the game does not end here. But looking at that fight, they just took complete control. Your team was able to...
Oh, we know they're going to recall? No, they got one cannon. He could do it.
The cannon that could? Alright, there they go. Okay.
There you go.
now that all is as it should be. Camille... Alright.
I really thought they were going to recall there. I'm sorry. I was...
Alright.
Yeah, if you want to finish up your point on what you were saying there, is we got kind of a little triggered by the potential recalls. So go ahead.
Yeah, your team really changed up their game plan there. Before they were trying to essentially, they didn't seem like they really had one that game one. They didn't really know who to play for, but they decided to just stick for it and play for their top side and hope that Camille, who was ahead, would be able to deal with Caitlyn. And it worked out for them. They really took control. Caitlyn was a monster in the side lanes. Cassante wasn't able to play the game, and it just meant that essentially they took control from there. Their team fighting was much better with Zac and Nico, and they really were able to just take control.
Yeah, that was impressive. I think there were a lot of things that switched around for your team in this game too, compared to how it went in game 2. Like we said, the early Dragon focus, getting those first 2 of the game instead of falling behind early there, and then just Camille absolutely popping off. The Zeri worked out. It seemed a little scary at first. You faced a Caitlyn in lane, Caitlyn Thresh there, but now it's up to Death Guards to adjust into going into this third, decisive game 3. But Zip, we actually do have some exciting news. We have the winners revealed for the giveaway, right? You want to give the first name away?
Sure. I think I'll give away the first one. Let's see here. We have Sticko winning the first gift card for RP.
All right, congratulations, and then congratulations as well to Apathy as well. So thank you to those 2 viewers along in the chat. You have won the giveaway. Hopefully you enjoy your new IP and spend it wisely. Spend it on the new Sivir skin. I'm a Sivir fan. Spend it on the Aurelia skin. Have you seen that Mythmaker Aurelia skin? It's an awesome skin. So I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but I think we are getting set up for game 3. Is it? Okay, so sorry about that. So we are going to take a quick break as they are getting set up for game 3 here. So when we come back, we will have our winner of this set, and one of these 2 will be moving on to the finals tomorrow.
See y'all in a bit.
Welcome back, everybody. Game 3 of the semifinals here in the Tranquility Gaming, our second event here for League of Legends. So we are getting right into it, Zip, as the pick and ban has started already. We'll try to keep everybody updated as how it is going on. Death Cards and your team, the winner of this match, will be moving on to the finals, which will be broadcast tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure if you're rooting for a certain team, if they make it to the finals tomorrow, make sure to tune in for that as well. I guess the big adjustment, Zip, in this game is the Zac being banned finally. So Scotty's gonna have to have another pick.
Aatrox gonna be picked up right away. No hesitation there.
Fiora counterpick. Yeah.
So traditionally, it has been seen by a counterpick, but it's actually it's Kassadin. Okay.
No. Okay.
All right. So Fiora, talking about the top lane real quick. Fiora traditionally has been seen as a counterpick to Aatrox, but it is actually a skill matchup that's only slightly favored towards Fiora, depending on when they decide to. Sorry, just a bit shocked there that they banned Camille when they already saw Aatrox. Anyway, but it's really up to Fiora when she decides to parry these Aatrox Qs, and that really depends on how the lane will go. Now, jumping over to Kassadin, the scaling monstrosity who got really buffed with the addition of the new Rod of Ages and its buffs, and then Seraph's getting its shield back. If he is allowed to scale, he will be incredibly powerful. And honestly, I've seen him take over way too many games.
Yeah, especially right now in pro play as well. Kassadin has like a very high ban presence, is not allowed to be picked a lot because obviously in the right hands, if a professional can get to level 16 and can scale on the Kassadin in an even state, they can really steamroll. But we can kind of recap everything here, how the draft went down, and then discuss it as we get ready for the game. So your team, which is on blue side yet again, all 3 games staying on blue side, is Aatrox, Sejuani, Neeko, Zerayumi. The Zerayumi ended up was very safe for them in the last game, helping them get that victory. And then Death Cards, their final stand here is Fiora, Udyr, Kassadin, Miss Fortune, and Braum. So what do you think about the MF Braum adjustment compared to Caitlyn Thresh, which neither of those champions were banned in this game?
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Caitlyn Thresh was working out pretty well for them. They were winning their lane, but Miss Fortune Braum is a lot more aggressive. At least in my opinion, Miss Fortune being able to slow to set up for Braum's Q to allow him to stun with his passive can definitely set up a lot more. It's also a bit strange because into Zerayumi you really want to be able to deny them that CS because you don't have that second support really giving you pressure for Zeri. So we'll see how it plays out. Could go either way, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting choice because you still have the same drawback of Zerayumi of the support is not really able to frontline for Zeri. You're latched onto your ADC, which is a benefit for MF and for Braum because you're able to use MF's E to, you're going to hit the Zeri. There's no support that's going to push you away from it. You can follow up with your Qs and things like that. So there is really a lot of the onus is on Bernie yet again to stay safe. I'm not sure for the Caitlyn matchup. But I think the Scotty finally being forced to switch onto Sejuani
something other than Zach.
Yeah. Is what do you think of the Sejuani?
I think that champion is turbo powerful and is really annoying. Sejuani can simply walk at you, refuse to get slowed, and then not die. And just, as long as she's paired up with a melee on the top side with Aatrox, she's actually really good. We've seen her traditionally be a lot more aggressive than a lot of other jungle picks because she can just jump in, throw her ultimate, get a lot of CC down, and then just get out or refuse to die. And though into the enemy team, it's a bit concerning because Braum, if he's standing in front of anyone, can actually block Sejuani's ultimate, and can even block her stun if he's positioned correctly, while Kassadin will likely just, hopefully, scale into the late game.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get my my things set up here, so apologies for that as they're getting in the... There we go, okay. So, back there, I had a little bit of a technical delay, but I did hear what you were saying. I do think Sejuani is really strong as well. Dabmaster getting to play Neeko all 3 games could be a strong comfort pick for them there, but I think on top of Zerayumi, the big thing is Women Adore Me on Aatrox was absolutely disgusting in game 1. It doesn't matter that they lost that game. That doesn't change the fact that their Aatrox was just so super impactful. I think 9-3 at one point in the game in a loss. So I would expect if your team is going to win this game, move on to the finals, that it's going to be Aatrox is going to have to win that skill matchup against Fiora.
Yeah, definitely. And it isn't in his favor, but as long as Fiora even just goes even and prevents Aatrox from getting ahead, it will the focus of the game then becomes placed on Kassadin. And can he get to that all-powerful level 16 with his basically infinite mobility, and can he get his 2-3 items, maybe even 4? If the game does go late.
Yeah, that's we've had some back and forth, 35-minute plus games, right? The first one I think went over 35 minutes, so there is a chance to just, if the game goes naturally long enough, a couple dragon steals prolonging the game, a couple baron steals. We've had so much in this set, it's possible.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of objectives be flipped back and forth.
So yeah, Kassadin might just naturally hit 16 even without a lead in the lane. I guess you could see how it works against Neeko in that lane as Kassadin maybe going to play it a little bit safer early on.
Both teams are
all stacked up 5-on-5 right now. Scotty is in the lead, and what happens? It's gonna be
Scotty immediately gets blown up. Very good adaptation by Death Cards there, noticing that your team was going for a pseudo invade almost every single time and is choosing to all stack up to deny it, and they end up getting that first blood out of it.
No, I got a little hype there on the Fiora being stunned by Neeko. I thought there might have been a world. Very unfortunate for Scotty. Very unfortunate for your team being down here and giving up the first blood to the Udyr. You could have lived if it was Braum. You would have been okay with it, whatever. But now giving that first blood over to Udyr is going to be really helpful.
So something that has changed. This isn't tank Udyr. This is lethality Udyr. And this is a very, very funny build. This is a very funny build where you build Prowler's Claw, and you max your Q, and you deal 1,000,000,000% max health physical damage. So much so that it did have to get nerfed, but it is still very strong, and it can be very impressive if it gets ahead, which he did end up getting that first kill. So his clear is going to be faster, and he will probably show up at the top lane a bit earlier than is expected.
If only Udyr could get ahead, gets first blood. I think that's a sign that is very worrisome for your team, since that was the worst target it could have went on. Unknown Newbie on MF this game, the first time this bot lane for Death Guards, actually both of them, first time they're not on their preferred champions of Caitlyn and Thresh, wanting to switch it up for the game 3, and then the combo of Rakusi and Bernie on Zerayumi again. You might want to hit an earlier power spike if you're going to have to be fighting against the Fed Udyr.
Yeah, for sure. We do see that Bernie did go for Cole again, opting to just let the wave come in and try to farm it under tower. We see that Smugs is actually skipping his Raptors, so it looks like he's going to want to path up top side very early on. He's opting to go for this blue buff, or red buff, sorry, excuse me, and then will likely just immediately go top. So let's see what he does here.
He is level 3, so having both buffs online and trying to go towards the top. Aatrox has pushed the wave forward, walking through the river, and even without the ward is going to be able to play it safe and try to recall here. So a good attempt at least. You skipped it, but now you just head back over to your Krugs.
Yep. And we see that in the mid lane, this is early game Kassadin. He's getting pushed in. What is he going to do? Oh, misses a melee minion there. It's okay. He's Kassadin. He'll skip.
It's alright. It happens to the best of them. As I said, he started tier as well, so it's not like he has the Dorans or something else that can help fighting early as well. So you can definitely understand where Love's idea is for this game, or the game plan, I should say. Just stack that tier up. Try to, like you mentioned in the draft, the new Rite of Ages has helped out Kassadin as well. So even if you lose lane, it doesn't really seem like Dab Masters Nico has been like the lane dominant factor in the prior 2 games. So I think Love is okay.
Yeah, it's been more of a steady just, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to get farm, and I'll be useful in team fights with my ultimate. It looks like there's going to be a fight around this bottom Scuttle Crab between, or Udyr. Yep, he's just going to do half of Sejuani South Bar and then just walk around.
There's nothing that Sejuani could do in that spot. You pretty much essentially have to concede the Scuttle, right?
Yeah, Udyr does have an extra longsword over everyone in the game. So he's going to be having a bit more damage than is expected. And no Blast Cone for Smugs to get over this wall. We'll see if something happens here.
The smite doesn't finish off the Krugs, though. So it could be Smugs actually finishing it down.
Scotty
like
losing
80,
his flash.
80 health there. Nobody's hitting it. Instead, going to try to stun Scotty. Under the tier 2 for Smugs is not enough. Scotty just barely surviving there. And the Krug gets to refill back up to full for Smugs to take down.
Yeah, so this is actually really bad for Sedge because with these jungle rework changes, it's become really bad to lose camps because you have to, for one, you don't get the stack on your jungle pet, and 2, your opponent obviously gets their own stack, and even maybe 2 here it looks like because he had a treat saved up. I didn't like the jungle rework as a jungler myself, but it's been fun. Oh, okay, Gilly going in with a flash, gonna be getting the stun, but it looks like it's just gonna be a trade here. Zeri's gonna have to flash away as soon as her stun ends, and Charybdis has been pushed under tower.
Fiora is really low at this point. Women Adore Me has shown in the first 2 games that they're one of the stronger players on your team, and if they're going to win this match, it'll be, you would think, a lot through the top lane. Level 6 has been hit. If Women Adore Me can try to push this wave under going after Fiora, or are they actually just going to let the recall go through? Yeah, so you actually, if you let it go through, now you can freely try to take the turret, this one turret plate before Fiora comes back. But no.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to try to keep this wave shoved under so that there isn't really any chance to exhibit the skill. Oh, he's in a lot of danger here. This is a lot of max damage.
Yeah, the Women Adore Me is in a really bad spot. World Ender does come out to match Fiora's ult as well. Really low, but the flash
really well played
from Fiora, and Charybdis is going to get the kill. Even down 20 CS, I guess that makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, Charybdis realizes that if Aatrox isn't backing off here, as well, he has this very short advantage with the Sheen, he can definitely take this fight and kill him, even being able to burn Women Adore Me's flash. And on the bottom side of the map, Smugs and the Death Card's bot lane is going to pick up this dragon.
That's the first dragon of the game. Going to be a Chemtech for them. Ocean will be next. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3 on the Cloud Souls in this matchup. I know you'd be a big fan of that.
Okay, I guess I was wrong, because Udyr is actually building tank, but he brought the lethality runes. I'm sad. I'm a bit sad now, because lethality Udyr is very funny to watch, but guess he's just going regular tank. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a bruiser, right? A little down the middle, being a little tanky and doing more damage. He was still actually able to output a lot of damage in game one, Smugs, on the Udyr when he was building tanky. It's just inherently how Udyr can work in those matches. So I guess I could somewhat understand, but yeah, if you're going to build the tank mythic, you might as well bring the tank runes.
Yeah, it's fine. Something I am interested though is seeing the gold differential between Aatrox and Fiora right now, because yes, I was right. Aatrox is still actually very ahead of her because he's gotten these turret plates and because he's got so much more CS. The kill basically did nothing. Aatrox is still looks to be 700 gold ahead, but looks like this is okay. Well,
Scotty going in with the Q.
Prom left unknown newbie to die.
Yeah, poor unknown newbie, the MF, and then the master is left. Only a true master.
Only a true support player can just leave their ADC to die on a bad rotation, get ganked by the jungler, and then flash M7 as he walks away. What a beautiful, beautiful interaction right there. Anyway, we do see Kassadin is actually keeping up in CS, has his Catalyst of Eons, I believe the item is called, and is keeping up in gold, so it's really good for him to just sort of scale, and if his team is already ahead, it's even better, but unfortunately it did fall behind losing those 2 kills. Oh, and Bernie
is really
barely gonna be able to get out.
But thanks to the E from Zeri, gonna be dashing over the wall to safety. Unknown newbie has hit level 6, as Bernie has as well. Bernie has neither ADC has any summoners, so if he can get another gank going bot lane, Mr. Gilly is stepping up, going back down to bot lane. There are 3 people in his face trying to walk away, and Scotty gets the kill. Not really sure what Mr. Gilly's planning there with his MF so far out of range.
And then if we can pan topside, we've got another fight breaking out. Aatrox, again, this is looking like game 1. This is going to be a much different scenario, though. He chooses to not go in.
Yep, now there's the Q onto Fiora. Going to bring him down low, but not...
Flash.
Yep, not enough. Flash is not up, looking like it's about, 75% of the way back from when he flashed and died earlier on in the lane. But now, well, 1 or 2 autos could get this second turret plate here, and Fiora has to be careful. You don't feel too overconfident just because you get the kill last time. This is a level 8 Aatrox is a lot different than like a level 4 Aatrox or whatever it was when he died before.
Yeah, it looks like Smugs is maybe going to try to cover him here. A lot of pings, a lot of bait pings in the bot lane. Don't know if that's being used for its intended purpose or not, but that remains to be seen.
Smugs is just going to recall at that point, so I'm not going to try to pursue the gank any further.
And it looks like Scotty might go for the Rift Herald after this. Just a bit of trading going on in the bot lane. And the mid lane has been completely quiet so far. Nothing much happening either way.
Which is the benefit for Kassadin, right?
Yes, this is a huge benefit for Kassadin. As long as he can just sort of keep even in CS, even just losing a little bit, as long as he gets the XP he needs, he's fine. He's set. Ideally, Kassadin doesn't have to interact with any single thing in this game other than the wave until he hits level 16. But looks like there's a gank in the mid lane.
Oh, Flash out of Dabmaster there, trying to get to safety. And Smugs, even though Smugs is not able to get a lot of kills, has been getting summoners and rushing down to the bot lane. Ward, don't care, gonna take that out. Thought maybe would have followed through as your lane was pushed up, going to try to get something going during the or under turret, but instead wants to walk away.
Importantly, Smugs' ghost was actually burned there, which means he's going to have a bit of a harder time catching up to people, and it looks like, yep, Scotty does finish off that Rift Herald. So it looks like your team is probably going to rush down to this dragon to see if they can't contest it. But Dab doesn't have any mana. And he doesn't have teleport, importantly.
So is this going to be the second dragon of the game for the death cards, or will Sejuani be able to steal it? We've seen a lot of dragon steals so far in this game, including a soul, but now it's a 3v1. Sejuani, Scotty has to flash out. Nico with the ult, landing on 2, but bullet time is going to put Nico in the fountain after that. Perfectly timed from Unknown Newbie. Mr. Gilly flashing out to safety. Double kill for Unborn Newbie. Make it a triple. No, actually, Love gets the last hit there. Thought maybe MF would have had it. Yuumi gets to kill Mr. Gilly. Don't know how much of a accomplishment it is in this game right now, but Love getting 2 kills there as well as MF.
Yeah, what looked to be let's try that again. This turned out a tragedy for your team. It looked to be good for them at the Aatrox? Why did you use World Ender? Oh boy. Looks like Cryptus will not continue to extend that. Okay. So, anyway, that turned out a tragedy for your team. Kassadin was able to rotate and get a bunch of kills there, and he's now like, extremely accelerated. He has his Roa at level 10, and as that goes off over the next 10 minutes, after 10, he will get a free level up, which will be huge for him as well as he pushes towards his level 16. Looks like Yuumi's gonna try to maybe steal the dragon. Will not be successful.
There you go. good try. It's worth the thought. But finally, second, and let's go 3 for 3 on the Cloud Souls in this set.
Sad. That's all. That's all I'll say. I'm just sad.
That's all. So, do you see any point as like technically your team is still winning right now? They're up 1,000 gold. Obviously, Kassadin is a ticking time bomb, but
that ticking time bomb just dropped down by a lot of time. It's very dangerous for them. If they don't find a way to end this game before Kassadin hits 16. Good parry by Charybdis. Gonna use his ulti. Gonna dedicate the Grand Challenge. See if he can actually get rid of Aatrox here, but... Ooh,
we know there's no World Ender. So the flash going forward, Q forward. Woman Adore Me has the flash out as well, and this time around, Fiora is not able to get the kill. So that's where, you know, popping your ults in the middle of the lane beforehand cost him because he didn't have it for that fight there.
Yeah, but something I do want to draw attention to, Aatrox is still ahead on gold, and oh, this is going to be a big fight in the bot lane. Bernie's going to get CC'd by Braum's ultimate, but Scotty's just going to jump in and immediately CC'd out on Newbie. Loves has teleported in. We'll see if he can do something here. Birdie flashing forward. Everyone's going to be teleporting down bot lane, but it looks like Death Cards is just going to back off here. Not going to go in.
Yeah, double kill for Bernie is definitely helpful here now. 3, 1, and 3. One minion left also.
Smugs is dangerously collapsible, but it looks like Dab is just going to let him walk out. They're not going to commit anything to him, and looks like it's just going to return to lane. That is very good for your team to get that kill. It definitely extends their goal lead. It gives him more time with Kassadin because he was drawn away from the lane where he was getting experience from. That's what's important here, is keeping Kassadin from actually exploding as that time bomb. But they really need to get a kill onto him. Maybe even just camp him out as soon as they can, because he is very strong. And something to note... Sorry, I do want to point this out real quick. This is going to be Lethality Misfortune. Opting not to go for crit, instead to go for a build that has sort of fallen out of the meta. It kind of got nerfed a bit ways back, and it hasn't really seen much play, so we'll see if he can pilot that to I guess, high efficiency.
I'm definitely a crit MF enjoyer, personally. I mean, I understand the lethality. There is only the one tank in Sejuani. I know Aatrox is a bruiser, but like I feel like the Kraken build, or you know, whatever crit you wanted to go for, would have been better served in this matchup, because lethality is like you have to get ahead. You have to really press that advantage as a lethality ADC, and that is just unfortunately not how it has worked out in this game for them.
Yeah, but Kassadin looking... Probably he'll get a free level up around level 13 or 14, which will be really big for him, as it'll put him just that much closer to that level 16 power spike. But Bernie is
MF.
big.
Oh no.
Trying to 1v1 in Aatrox is a disastrous idea. An Unknown Newbie is down. Mr. Gilly's going to try to walk out, has to flash in order to do it. Bit of a overconfident moment from Unknown Newbie there, trying to 1v1 Women Adore Me.
Yeah, you really got to question what he was really thinking he could do there. He's pushing up as an ADC alone, no flash, no anything really. Misfortune doesn't have the mobility that Caitlyn does even. So he had no way of escaping once he pushed up there. Really big misplay from Unknown Newbie. Anyway, back to the opposing ADC. Bernie is very big here, being able to be 3 kills
And having his bounty, he's able to free farm now, and he isn't being shoved away, so he's going to be able to actually just pick up free XP and gold. And that's nothing you ever really want Zeri to do. Looks like Smugs is going to try to get him here. Yeah, 1 minute on this Cloud Dragon coming up. We'll see how this plays out.
That is now multiple times that Smugs has just found a ward, cleared it, and dipped. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a wrong play. I just think it's issues like I've done my job. But Kassadin trying to go forward, not going to get the kill, taking a turret shot, and then having to walk back out because Women of Dormy would have tried to 1v1 him there. And looked like Udyr actually recalled in that spot. So if he could have stayed bot, maybe would have tried to force something. But we are 30 seconds out before a potential third dragon for the death cards.
There's something important to note. Charybdis and Women of Dormy both do not have their teleports. They cannot influence this unless they both walk. So it's probably going to be a 4v4, and I think in terms of just straight up power, I'd favor your team here with Nico and Sejuani, all 4 ultimates being up, with the same on, I am completely blanking. Death cards, there we go. The same on there.
Oh, Arctic Assault into Mr. Gilly, but he is not a high priority target. Ganel's back on the Braum, and now you go into Unknown Newbie, who's right in the middle of the rivers. The first one to die is the ADC. Braum goes down as well. Love is just barely living. Can Newbie take it? The answer is yes. Rakusi taking down, and that is 4 kills. The game is definitely in the favor of your team with a 5,000 gold lead and them getting their first dragon of the game.
Yeah, that was disastrous for Death Cards, and now they're really going to have to rely on scaling this game back, sort of cutting down the tempo and slowing it down and allowing for their team to scale up, because if they just... it's definitely in your team's hands to see how they want to push the game forward. They're the ones who have to take these objectives off cooldown now and try to take these early turrets.
4-1-0 for the Aatrox. Definitely really strong with that shutdown there. The Fiora is trying to split push. Did take the, did take the wave into taking the first turret in top lane, but if Fiora's not able to, be as strong of a split pusher, you're going to have to face a Yuumi and a Sejuani queuing out of the way for little moonwalking going on my
As Charybdis very likely walks away.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Fiora is just so cool. She's able to do that. Maybe it's a French thing. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a Demacian thing.
Women of Dormy. Actually look at the gold differential here. We do know it's 6k in the favor of your team, but there's going to be a 2k difference in the top lane, nearly 1,000 in the jungle, honestly. And bot lane's very ahead. The entirety of your team is extremely accelerated, even Yuumi having a 1k gold lead over Braum. Just to put it in perspective of that, the cat is very strong right now.
Yeah, that's the difference between these two, between the Yuumi who gets to play it safe, and that's why you have a shutdown at this point, that gold differential there for the Yuumi, compared to Braum, who felt like has had moments as like really nice counter, dive when Scotty tries to pop in, or if Dab Master tries to go and Aatrox goes in. You have your ultimate, you have your shield, but it's just not enough at this point to stop them from popping Misfortune, which we've seen multiple times now in the last couple team fights.
Correct. And it stands to be seen, will Love hit level 14 before his Roa procs? He's got 2 minutes to do it, and if he does, it'll be really big for him because he'll skip the entirety of level 15, getting up that experience, and just be able to scale right towards getting his level 16 power spike. He'll only have to do 1 more level.
His team needs to play around that aspect too, like funnel as much farm as you can.
Yeah, gold and experience as you can into this point.
Baron is up. We do have 2.5 minutes until the next dragon, so that would be the potential, the next objective. Mid lane, Bernie and Yuumi as well. So you kind of have a moment where you can have your teams try to, try to go towards the Baron there if they wanted to, but they could also just play it out safe too.
And something to know, Unknown Newbie has not finished his I believe it's Muramana? He's still just sitting with the base item. It has not been upgraded. So he's really just sitting on like total half an item with his components finishing it off. Because that item, until it gets upgraded, isn't really that good. So hopefully he'll be able to finish that by the next team fight. But until then, oh, Love will hit 14. So he's going to skip the entirety of this level and go straight to 15 in about a minute once his row procs.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
His 2-item spike is big, but I don't know if he'll be able to actually contest with this very fed Aatrox. He has both the Eclipse and Cleaver. A lot of dueling power, a lot of teamfight potential right there. And Sedge opting to build Heartsteel, even though that item is much better. Not on a jungler, but instead on a laner.
Is building towards the Sunfire as well, if Scotty can get that second item finished. Tiamat picked up by Fiora as well, still sitting on, or not even completing the Hydra compared to Aatrox's 2 items. But there is a Sunfire as well. So Sejuani at least is pretty tanky for this next team fight that could be coming in the next 45 seconds.
Yep. And it remains to be seen, will Deathcard try to contest this Cloud Dragon? It will, if they decide to give it, they could honestly just trade for a Baron, if they really wanted to try and sneak it. It's definitely an angle that they could go for. But it looks like they're just gonna give it, not try to I'm speaking too soon.
Well, yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen.
We'll see what happens.
Love is level 15, by the way, so the Roa did activate there, and now he is 1 level away from hitting every Kassadin's favorite goal of being level 16. The dragon is going to spawn in 5 seconds. So far, it looks like all of the death cards are positioning towards Baron. So it might be what you're saying, trading Baron for dragon.
Yeah, they realize that this second Cloud Dragon really isn't that important for your team, and they opt to just try to go contest this Baron. And we'll see what happens here. It's at 6,000. Braum is very low. They must have had him tanking. And Love is just sitting in these bushes, just waiting to zone out Bernie and Rikusu from even getting in, and it will be taken away. Very good play by Deathcards to try to stall out this game a bit more, because it will be very difficult to push in waves that are buffed by Baron.
Yeah, that was very smart because of, trying... If there was a little bit of a hyper fixation on the second dragon of the game, it's not as important at this point, 25 minutes into the game, as taking the Baron there. And now it has dinged. Kassadin is level 16, but we'll talk about that whenever it is relevant in a fight. For now, Smugs is just gonna get out of that potential danger point there. But here's the moment you were waiting for.
Yeah, level 16 Kassadin is big, and he's opting to build towards Zhonya's as his 3rd item. The reason why this champion is so terrifying if he gets that big power spike is his ultimate is a blink, obviously, that does damage and AoE around him. And when he gets to level 16, the cooldown on that ability is minuscule. It's around 2 seconds, as we can see down there in the bottom left. And it scales up, I believe, 4 times into a very massive AoE damage ability. Now, the only thing he has to worry about is running out of mana, essentially. And Kassadin is terrifyingly strong. Though it does sound like, yeah, there was a Nico ulti used bot lane, but Fiora was able to just walk out of that.
Are going to have the mid lane pushing in for Deathguard. Still have not even taken the first turret here in mid lane, so that's how this Baron empowered wave can try to help, unless Scotty's able to get that. Alright, so they don't even finish off the wave there.
Sorry, what a strange build from Unknown Newbie here, opting to go for Muramana into Kraken, opting for a hybrid of crit and, I guess, damage. I guess he feels that he really needs to be spamming abilities this game and just wants the mana to continue to do so. Kassadin does need to be careful here. He does not have any
very low mana,
but it looks like he's just going to be able to push up and take this inhibitor tower uncontested.
He got
very
it.
Well done by him.
That tower's down. Scotty OP is not going to be able to catch him. So now, even though, yes, Kassadin is low on mana, Love is going to be able to potentially recall. Hasn't actually recalled yet. Unknown Newbie taking that Yumi Q there. And you can hope with all that extra mana maybe they can spam their abilities to help take this tier 2. If Death Cards are able to just keep pushing in like this, would be helpful. But Zeri with the ultimate, and now the Arctic Assault going out to Mr. Gilly. Gonna be able to get out alive, actually, but Unborn Newbie is being hit up. The W is not enough, and Scotty OP dies. Unborn Newbie sticking around. One more auto shutdown goes to Zeri, though. Rakusi is in a very tough spot. Gonna have to tap on to Aatrox here in this spot. Love is walking away, too low of health, not wanting to risk it. Level 16 Fiora TPing down there for the fight, and I would have expected more deaths to go down than 3.
Yeah, you would expect, but it was also a very good fight for Death Cards. Kassadin able to zone Zeri away for a little bit there, preventing her from really taking over the fight completely, and only trading your ADC for their jungle and their ADC, one of which I think they both actually had shutdowns. So it's very good for Death Cards, able to prolong the game even more, stalling out even longer, which is really their entire goal here. Try to prevent Aatrox and the amount of prio that they have from taking over this game with the leads that they had.
Aatrox also recalled like right in front of that minion wave, so he doesn't, if he didn't want the EXP, he doesn't want that wave to push out too far, knowing that we are a minute away from dragon spawning there, but could be potential, wave manipulation if that's what he wanted to go for. But 2 dragons apiece for each of these teams. Kassadin is at his high power spike, but Aatrox is still 4-1 and looking to try to hit those high priority targets like MF or Fiora, because Kassadin's just kind of too slippery sometimes to try to kill.
Looks like Kassadin's actually going to try and trade an inhibitor here for this dragon. Aatrox is going to be recalling to deal with him, but there's no way that they can catch up because of the increased damage that AP does to towers and inhibitors. So it looks like Love maybe trying to just be a little cheeky here. He has teleports, so he can actually rejoin the fight, but Aatrox does not. This could be a 5v4 opportunity if Kassadin can get a recall off and get his mana back.
They also are kind of getting cornered around. TP does come in from Love, so it is a 5-on-4. Arctic Assault forward, though, onto Fiora. It's not enough for the kill, and now Scotty is down, as is Dab Master going down to his Nico, really not helping out too much in that fight. And even though Kassadin was pushing the lane or pushing into the base to get the inhib, he's still here to be impactful in this fight as they go for this 3rd dragon on theirs. Is there going to be a steal? No! Udyr secures it with the smite, and now you can just completely focus down on Aatrox and into the Zeri as well. There goes Yuumi, and that's an ace.
They might even be able to take all 3 inhibitors here if they play it correctly, getting these waves under. That was a really bad fight for your team. Zeri got zoned off completely, and then Miss Fortune and Braum were able to combo their ultimates together in order to combine for a lot of damage here. And Aatrox wasn't able to actually fight. Really well done, and really well zone controlled.
Yeah, that's 2 dragon fights in a row that your team kind of hyper-focused on it. And if McGilly's able to get out, can, finish up. Basically, the last time they hyper-focused on the 2nd dragon of the game, gave up Baron for it, which was not an even equal trade. This time around, they get to dragon 20 seconds before it spawns, and they're ready for it, and they concede their top inhib and force Aatrox to recall, putting them in a 5v4 spot. So I just think Death Cards are really playing the macro very well here in this game, and not being, getting tunnel vision onto individual objectives, looking at the overarching objectives.
Kassadin is now level 18, has 3 items. He is a monstrous champion right now. He's going to be very strong in these extended fights because they don't end early, considering both teams really want to play for larger scale team fights with Aatrox's World Ender, Sejuani's ultimate, and then Fiora just generally being slower to kill on certain targets. On tanks, though, not really slower to kill, but taking a little bit of time to do her damage. So the Baron will be started up here. And they just have so much control.
In there, just to scope it out. Is almost at half health, but looks like Snow's gonna say it. Scotty going in, Zeri going for the ult, gonna try to bring everybody down. Those are some really low health targets. Shut down for the Nico. Mr. Gilly has to flash out to safety, so this Baron fight was not as strong as they would have liked. Nico is down, though. Scotty goes down. Women Adore Me is not able to stay around, and that's a pentakill for Kassadin. Love is
the scaling monster.
1. Level 18. It is a problem. This is why you don't let Kassadin get to this late of the game.
Yeah, it looks like that will just be the game. Really well played there by Death Cards in the last couple minutes of this game, as they really just out-macroed your team.
Yeah, congratulations to Death Cards, moving on to the finals tomorrow night. Really, I mean, what can you say? That match saving Kassadin for Game 3. Love proving to be, potentially the player of the series with how well they were able to pop off even on the Lissandra game, and obviously Kassadin there. So just not enough positive things you can say about Love and how Death Cards played Game 3.
Yeah, they played really well.
Getting a pentakill in that third game has to be a big ego boost for them going into this finals, and it remains to be seen how it'll affect them going in, how it might affect bans going into the finals tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, nice plug. Hopefully their opponents, if they watch back on the stream, they can see, all right, we're gonna ban the Kassadin in this game. So other things as we wrap up here. I think the bot lane for Death Cards, they had some moments. They got first blood in game 1, but then a couple of games they kind of got punished for relying too much on their ADC and not being able to back it up, like with Caitlyn, or MF with the half hybrid, crit, but then Muramana builds and stuff. So I'd like to see some more, some cleaner things out of Death Cards bot lane tomorrow.
Yeah, they definitely did really well game 1 playing for them, but then in game 2 they got punished hard for putting, I guess, all their eggs in one basket in this Caitlyn, and trying to just let them play around it, and they just got completely run over in the top lane. K'Sante wasn't able to play into Camille and Zac, who just spam ganked top lane. So it really just meant that Caitlyn was irrelevant because they had a Camille, and what are you going to do against a fed Camille dive? Even with your Thresh, you can't get away because of Hexic Ultimatum. So then going into this game 3, they sort of opted to play more around just playing the macro, giving up these early objectives, and playing to scale with your Kassadin, and then just playing around the level 18 abomination that is Kassadin with Roa and Seraphs.
Yeah, hey, it's tough to get there, but if you get there, you are rewarded for it, right? For those early struggles. So for Zip and myself, I want to say thank you for everybody who was watching the semifinals tonight. Tomorrow will be 8 p.m. the finals between Death Cards and the other team to make it out of the semifinals. But before we head off, we do have some closing thoughts that for Tranquility Gaming, our Valorant tournament signups are currently open. They close on January 23rd. So if you are interested in playing some Valorant, please make sure to follow along and sign up for that. And then, like I said, tomorrow, Death Cards have the chance to win the entire thing. Is that going to happen? You'll have to tune back in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern to find out. But for now, we are going to sign off. Thank you, everybody who enjoyed this match. This was an absolute blast, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.